What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to another exciting edition of Funk Music with Zack. Today, I got my homeboy, my brother, my good funk brother from Somenobodies Norfolk and Next Exit. And he works with the Goodie Mob and everybody down there in Atlanta. P Funkadelic, alumni guitarist, Mr. Michael B. Patterson's coming on to kick it with us for a minute. First of all, hello to everybody out there. How you guys doing? Mad shouts out to everybody all around the world right here on IBM.TV, the station for the nation with the host, my man behind the glass, Mr. Mark Lee. How you doing back there, Mark? I know you back there holding it down, making it all work. We're gonna first shout out, some people that may be going through some tough times or whatever. Never let yourself be fooled. Make sure y'all get out and vote. So let's get that out the way. Make sure you wear your mask and make sure you have all that good stuff. Hand sanitizer, wash your hands and everything that you're doing. Make sure y'all take care of that and take care of your families, man, and never undervalue or underestimate yourself, not for anybody. And also, too, if you got a birthday out there, man, happy birthday. I know Boosie had a birthday. There was a few people on Facebook that I saw that had birthdays. And, my main girl, Tish, hanging out. Her birthday's coming up. I know one of our producers here, Kim, happy birthday. I know your birthday's coming up. So we got a lot of, birthdays coming up in the next couple of weeks that we're going to be shouting out to. For all the people out there, again, this is Funk Music with Zack right here on IBM.TV. I want to thank all the sponsors out there. We got a lot going on. And maybe later on, Dr. Tawana Anthony may be jumping on. I'm not sure. She may jump on at the end. I know she's moving. So, Doctor, if you're out there watching, I love you. Just hit Mark up, and we'll make sure we make that happen. She does have a children's book that just came out, and I was going to show you guys this. Really quick before we get into Mike. I want to just congratulate Dr. Tawana Anthony on her children's book. I have my own personal signed copy. She, thought highly enough of me. I don't know if you guys can see that, to sign me a copy. And her children's book is called At the Gator Park, which is like totally cool. As you guys know, Dr. Anthony is from New Orleans. But yeah, man, we're going to sit back and kick it, get into this funk thing. Funk music is a way of life. If everybody was into the whole funk thing, there'd be no wars around the world. There'd be no reason to be battling. There'd be no reason to pull polling stations and, pull some of these stupid Jim Crow laws about, where people can go and actually cast their vote to be a member of, the system and actually have their voice heard. So all it is funky business, monkey business, Sir Nose devoid of funk, if y'all know what I'm talking about out there, making all of this negative stuff happen. And, we're going to circumvent all of that because that's what the funk community is all about. It's about being real. It's about being recognized for who you are. It's about staying true to your funk self and your funky self. And right now, bringing on my main man, Mr. Michael B. Patterson. He should be back there. If he's back there, we're going to pop him in, Mark. If not, we're going to wait for him to get on a minute. And we're just sitting here kicking it on Funk Music with Zack. It's a beautiful, rainy Sunday here in North Carolina, and we're just hanging out, chilling. The vibe is right. How many of y'all out there definitely dug Boosie's party? It was mad cool, it was online thing, and it was really done really, really well. Shout out to Peppermint Patty and Boosie Collins, his birthday, and the host Tommy Davis, and all the people they had on there, George Benson and Snoop Dogg and all these other people. It was mad crazy cool. You never know who's watching the show, so always keep that in mind. And everybody out there, please know that I love you. If you're going through some hard times, whatever, Weird IBM wants you to just jump in and let us know what's happening with you. Drop us a line. It's all good. I'm checking to see where my man Mike P is right now. While we holding that down, yeah. I have certain ringtones and things on my phone where it's kind of cool, man. I was listening to Dumpster Funk just a minute ago, talking to my man behind the glass, Mr. Mark Lee back there, who actually has his own show on Mondays and, during the week with IBM.TV. So check this out. Here we are, about, 9 days from the election, whatever. And people are still, wondering how they gonna make this work. There he is. What's up, my main man? How you doing? What's up, bro? We'll get back to that subject a little later. I can't hear you. Yeah, I don't hear you. Unmute your mic. Your mic, unmute it. Mark, we don't hear him. I know it might be on his end. Hold it. Yeah. There we go. It's all good. Let me let him know we can't hear him. But yeah, 9 days to go. So please get out there and vote. Please let your voice be heard. Never underestimate the power of your own voice. Be in your own control. Do what it is that you need to do in this life that makes you happy. And that's the main theme. And we know we're not happy right now. So, we got to do things to change the situation. Y'all know me. I'm a funk musician. That's what I do. That's what I am. I was born and bred to do just that. And that's what I will continue to do the rest of my life. As soon as we can get back to getting some music out and things like that and performing at a distance or wherever we have to perform at, we're going to go ahead and get that done, because that's what the Nappy Head Funk Army does. You guys out there that don't follow our music, you can follow my stuff at nappyheadfunkarmy.com. We got new music coming out in 2021. We're in the process of recording that now as we speak. That theme you heard on the beginning of the show called Tsetse Fly. All right. The theme was written by Kyle Willis. He's actually my guitar player, John Willis's son, wrote that theme, man. And it's nasty, it's funky. And for you guys don't know, go follow Groovalicious Project. That theme is on that project. So, a lot of the talented and great musicians, that I know and have worked with over the years. And believe me, it's been plenty of them, man, all contribute and want to see, this funk thing that I'm doing continue to grow and blow up and all that good stuff. So, y'all just keep that in mind. There's stuff out there that you may not know about yet, but it's definitely coming. So, we're going to make sure that we stay on top of this game, because believe me, it is a game. And those of you that's inside the business know, how it works and everything when it comes to this music thing. So we're going to try to get Mike P back on in a second. So just give me a minute and let me take off my Bootzilla glasses. There you go. So you can see my eyes. Obviously, I was up till 4:00 in the morning working in the studio, recording some stuff. So those are pretty much my days since, I've been locked down. Let me just let Mike know that, we're trying to get his volume up. So you guys out there, get on the thread, give me a shout out, and, let us know what you think about the show. Log in. You can go to, I think it's www.ibm.tv, and you can check that out and follow us, and please support the Dollar Store. Lynn Shepard, one of our sponsors, and he makes sure that IBM is still afloat and still running. So y'all check this out. We're gonna run this for a minute. This is Dumpster Funk, and this is called Justice, because we all need justice. Dumpster Funk is one of my favorite groups. And this is how I wanted to bring Mike P in hot. Oh, there he is. What up? All right, bro. I was bringing you in hot. How you doing, man? How you doing? I still can't hear you. Let's see if we can get his volume right. I can't hear you. Yeah, we're gonna work on that. Sir Nose is always trying to do something. Always. But it's okay, because whatever it is. And this show is live, it's raw, it's unfiltered, it's all of that, and then some, you know what I mean? And that's how we roll here on Sundays. With so many musicians out of work and so many people trying to figure out what it is that how they're going to make their livelihood, how they're going to feed their families. How are they going to pay their mortgage rent? How are they going to pay their car payment? A lot of times musicians, if they're getting paid off the books, cannot go down to unemployment and collect unemployment because they don't really have tax stubs. They don't have certain things that they need paperwork wise. That's why if you're in the music business, it's always good. File your taxes. If you're in a local 802 or whatever, make sure that you stay on top of that, because God forbid if something like this happens again, then you will not be able to, properly be compensated. If you're out there and you're starting your LLC, make sure you get that done. Make sure that, you're able to have a paper trail so the government doesn't come after you if they find out you're actually starting to produce money. Always make sure you got your publishing. Own your own self. Own your own stuff. Own your own publishing rights. Publishing in the music business is very, very huge. That means that you write, you own your stuff, and you write your stuff, and your writers' credits and royalties as far as where your music is played at around the world will also be tracked and monitored, so you will get paid. And I'm speaking specifically for musicians out there, because musicians out there always seem to get the short end of the stick. We play for free. We put on things for free. We do a lot of things. Nobody does more things in this country when it comes to being less compensated for free than musicians. But the time and effort it takes to actually do something, even the time and effort it takes to do something like this show, there's still music involved. That stuff has to be, taken care of when it comes to people out on the road, because their families and their livelihoods depend on it. And that's very, very important. We're trying to get Mike P back on, but right now we're just going to sit here and chat for a little bit. What's happening, Mark? How you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, we were having some issues with Mike P, so I told him to bounce out and bounce back in. You might want to send him that same message, because I know that that's happened to us before, where folks on their end have been muted or they're not getting the volume. So I did tell him to come back in and join us once again, because it definitely was happening on his end. So I asked him to come back in, and I'm just waiting for him to join you so that y'all can chop it up about the music scene, because I know when he was here before with Roster Funk, y'all definitely chopped it up. So hopefully he's going to be coming back and joining us to conversate. But definitely that was what was going on. Like you said, things want to act up and act crazy. We had such a good show on Funk Music with Zack yesterday. I mean, not on Funk from the Front Seat, I should say. Yesterday was jazz, and we had such a great show. So now we're just waiting to cut it up with Mike. But sometimes things want to act a little bit on the insane side. So that's what's going on. So I'm waiting for him to pop back in. But you were so right about what you're talking about the way that we've got to support our artists. And I definitely know you are a musician, and musicians, of course, have got to get their support. But I would also argue the same thing with our friends, because both me and you have friends that are in the acting community, in the author community, in a number of other communities that are out there. As I've talked to you about before, my dad is a well-known artist here in the Durham community. And I know I oftentimes have that conversation with him, the fact that, he doesn't want to be getting just having folks display his work. He wants to get compensated as well. So I definitely learned that from him, and I know that you've learned that from some of the folks in your life as well.
I have people up there on Broadway, and I used to, work at the Apollo and played at the Apollo and all that good stuff. And I have a friend of mine, she's on Broadway and she's off Broadway, and the amount of laws that they're going to have to deal with all the way up until next September, they said is going to be in the billions of dollars, because Broadway is something that only New York has. People have Broadway on their bucket list. Like, I got to go see a Broadway play on Broadway. The ticket takers, all the people that, park the cars before you even get inside, the people that hand you the programs, the people that are at concessions, the coat check girls, all the people, the doormen that hold the door, all the jobs that, people walk you up and down the aisle. And that's not even getting to the stage. Then you have your stage hands. Then you have all the people that move the equipment. Then you have your sound and light techs, which are both union jobs, by the way. All right. And then you have, the pit where the musicians actually play. A lot of them go from show to show to show. They work 5, 6, 7 different shows. My friend Barry Eastman was working on Cats and at the same time doing Mamma Mia and at the same time doing Rent. You know what I mean? These are all people that I personally know in the business that I've been known for a long time. I played with Barry, did music on his album, his CD, did 2 songs with him. They were both hits, If You Want Me. He also worked for Anita Baker, you know, and we recorded stuff for her on her stuff. And, you know, these people are hurting. You know, they're not just numbers that we put up on the screen and say, oh, you know, well, it's just a number. These are actual blood, sweat, and tear folks, living, breathing human beings, man. And it breaks my heart that I can't help them. I wish I was a millionaire. I would just probably be broke because I would just give all my money away, besides taking care of my kids, you know. And you know, Mark, like you said, compensation is a funny thing because, you know, most of us do things in life if we're fortunate. I've been blessed. I get a chance, and as you do something I love, you work at Haytime. You love that. I get a chance to do something I love. So it's not a monetary price on it by no means, you know. So I don't want people to get it twisted and think that I hate what I do, because I don't. You know, as far as music goes, I just know the work that goes into it and the production of putting together a song that people actually like, you know, that can be played out. You know what I'm saying?
No,
and, you know,
I hear you loud and clear, and you are so right about that and everything. By the way, I see that we've got Mike back in, and I want to see if we can get him back in on the sound and all of that. He's got on his mask, by the way. That mask is definitely cutting up and everything, so I'm going to bounce off and go back behind the glass, but I want to at least help you out and everything, and hopefully Mike will be working. By the way, I do want to give a quick shout-out that you were giving birthday shout-outs, and I mentioned that to you before, that my brother shares a birthday with the great Bootsy Collins, and that means October 26th. So before we bring in Mike, I got to shout out Malik Lee. So that's my younger brother. I know you gave some shout outs early, so I appreciate that. So let me do that. And now let's bring in Mike with some great conversation that I know you're going to provide.
Can you hear him? Is he there?
He is there. I think I heard some background noise, so we're hoping that was his background noise and not yours, but we're about to find out. I did hear some background noise in the back.
So, opening part 2, Mike. I still can't hear him.
Still can't hear him. Nope.
No,
I don't know if that's something going.
Sir Nose devoid of funk. For y'all that don't know, that's a funkadelic thing. Sir Nose is really messing up. Yeah, I don't know. I can't hear you. Yeah, I can't hear you. But it's all good. We see him. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Yep.
He's not sure why.
Yeah, I'm not sure why either. The only thing I can think of is he's got something going on with his equipment, and I will chat with him because I know last time we had one of your guests and they just had to plug in something on his computer and then he was able to get the sound. I think that's what we had going on with Nefertili, if you remember, and then he plugged in something to the computer. So I'm going to see if we can't communicate with him and see if we can't get this going on because I am at a loss as well.
While I'm doing this, you know, do you have Mike's email or his number or stuff like that? I'm gonna shoot you his number, or I'll shoot you a text from him.
Cool.
See, now when you're on live TV, these are some of the things that happen, but it's all good because, you know, I've been pretty fortunate to have the gift of gab. So ad-libbing is all that I can do at this moment, which I love to do. So let's just ad-lib something up. You know, this was going out to Bootsy Collins, and I didn't get a chance to do it for his birthday, but I'm going to do it for him now. So if you're watching out there, Bootsy, happy birthday. This goes out to you. Universally, from adulthood to the nursery, DJs cut the wax. Bootsy space bass heats it up like Mercury's. He slays saps like Hercules. Suckers catches burns by 3rd degree. If you ain't talking Bootsy or Peppermint Patty, chill. Don't say a word to me. Verbally, I extend my thoughts to all outer levels to reach all hip-hop rebels. Word to Bam Bam, word to Pebbles. Excitable, lyrical contact, keep you happy. Word to Pappy. You know the heads that keep it nappy. Turn the mic up in my Mackie. Let me verbalize my vision that all P-Funkadelics around the world, we in the same position. To unify, our mic chords are bond together. Psychologically, it's the only way to reach our treasures. I learn from my errors. I'm in this thing for the longevers. 2020, 30, 40, 50, whatever. I stay clever, so keep it right and keep it equal. This one goes out to Bootsy Collins on his birthday and all my funky people. All right, that was for you, Bootsy, out there. Hopefully somebody will get that to you. And I had that planned if I would have got a chance to hit you up. So that's good. I got that out the way, got that off my chest. A lot of times you never know what a person has inside their mind until they start spitting it out. I try to tend to stay on the humble side until I get on that stage. Believe me, I'm itching and dying, y'all out there, to get on the stage. I know if you're a musician out there, and I know my main man, my big brother, Freddie Butch Washington up in New York, if you're watching, my other big, my little sister, Kim Sazi, I'm part of that Creations music family up there. I've been part of their family for 30 years. We worked everywhere, the Twin Towers, we did the Garden, we did, everything at Shea Stadium, the Waldorf Astoria, you name it, we did it out there on Strong Island, representing New York City, a lot of major places and people that we performed for, Whoopi Goldberg, John Luciano, people like that, and, played at the White House twice, so I only say this to say a lot of times people don't really know me. So as you guys get to know me and you look back through my history, I'm 62 years old now, but I have had a very, very, very long, beautiful, charming, rough, bumpy, sometimes not so good career in the music game. That's why I continue to do it, because that's what I am. That's what I do. That's what God made me. What you see is what you get. There is no faking it with me. I'm not faking it. I walk around like this all the time. If you see me with this on the show and you see me out in the streets, that's how I'm going to be rolling. You'll see the same person on the stage. Ain't nothing phony about me. I'm never going to be a phony. What I'm going to tell you is just keep it real out there, because that's all we have, especially as Black men. That's all we have at this point. And I'm not going to get into that whole thing because that's not the subject of this show. But what I am trying to tell everybody out there is never give up on your dreams and stay true to your path. Stay in your lane. Do what you're supposed to do, and it will all work out in the end. And if you don't believe me, you can just go ask my two beautiful daughters, Kayla and Maya. Again, I wanted to promote my friend, Dr. Tawana Anthony, and her beautiful book right there. And it's like, At the Gator Park. Now, Dr. Anthony's deep. I was on her show up in D.C., her radio show, and we talked a little bit and kicked it before COVID. And she's in the process, I think, of going back and forth right now. So I'll catch up with her, if not this week, next week. But what we need to focus on and get everybody locked down on is how can we change what we see around us without having it affect our emotions. All right. Because emotions are a powerful thing. And when you have emotions inside and you're visually taking in all of this stuff viscerally, I meant to say, sometimes it can play games with you. But don't be fooled, because what you see out there in the world, you have to interpret that. And you can interpret it two different ways. You can interpret it for good, or you can interpret it for something that's not so good. Me, I try to choose the good. I know exactly who I am, and I know plenty of people that understand what I am and what I do. And when you get to a point in life to where, you're dealing with this pandemic that we're all dealing with, and that's something we've never dealt with before. When you get to that point in life where you're like, okay, I got to sit back and take this one, sometimes that's okay. It's okay to do that. There's no harm in it. And if you don't, if somebody says, hey, you got to vote this way, that way, there's no harm, in disagreeing with people and, having a different vote and everything like that. That's all good. That's, supposedly the American way, right? But if it comes down to a person physically trying to attack you, there's no reason to stand for that. If it comes down to someone trying to take away your right as a human being to vote in a timely manner, you don't have to agree with that, nor should you agree, nor do you have to take it. There's no reason to have people in Georgia standing on line for 11 hours, and then people say, hey, that's not voter suppression. Well, if it ain't voter suppression, it damn sure is wearing the voter suppression dress. Because I'm going to tell you right now, that looks like voter suppression to me. There's no reason to have mailboxes and drop boxes taken away and stacked up in corners. And they say, oh, no, that's not voter suppression. So if that ain't voter suppression, it's damn sure wearing the voter suppression pair of pants to me, because those things look like things that my father used to tell me about, and there's no logical reason for us to be dealing with this as Americans, as human beings, as spiritual light in this world. There is no logical reason for us to be in this position other than man has corrupted man and put man in the place to where man is in charge. We're not following the light, the spirit. My good brother, Funkdro Santiago, drummer for Mandro, I call him my big brother. Him and I was talking and, had the spirit to say, you up, Mikey, Mike?
Check one, check two.
Yeah.
Check one,
in the house. All right, we're gonna come back to that. What's up, my funk brother? How you doing?
Hey, let's turn up.
You all right, bro?
Man, look, man, I can't complain, man. I'm over here. I had my mask on because I don't even trust myself now.
I feel you. You ladies and gentlemen, I'm from the front seat. My man Mikey be past and say he don't even trust himself. Hey, I understand.
I don't even trust myself. Somebody said, I'm trying to do things to keep the funk alive. You know what I mean?
Hey, yeah, you're doing it, man. Yeah. Yes.
It's like, let's talk about Dr. Funkenstein. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man. I love that. Yo. So
I'm trying to keep the funk. I'm trying. The funk is not in the past; it's in the future. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
The funk is not just in the past; it's in the future. It's in the future. So I'm going to take all the things that I learned from Uncle Boogie, Bootsy, George, but now we got to. It's time to go into the future, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I like how you want to talk about funk. They stick you back in the 70s. No, this shit is
that's right.
Going on to the future, baby.
Yep, that's right, man. Yep. Yeah, and you're right, because you and I have spoke about this publicly, privately, and we all agree that because we had the forefathers that taught us and we learned from them, like you, especially right in that middle circle. And then you can go out like the ripple effect and spread it, which is what you do, man. Again, here we are hanging out with, my main man, Mike P. Y'all know who he is, P-Funk veteran and, works with the Goodie Mob. Absolutely. And producer extraordinaire. You know what I'm saying? And everything that you're doing down there, man. Donna, matter of fact, Otis Hawk, made this happen today because I was like, man, I gotta find somebody for Sunday. And he's like, call Mikey, he got some new stuff. So we're gonna jump right in. There was another.
See, this is the thing.
Go ahead.
No, but this is the thing. We're working on the new Goodie Mob album, and Andre 3000 came out of his retirement.
Yeah.
We got Andre 3000. He's such a spoiled brat. He's just like me. We're only children. We got to have everything our way.
Right.
He came out of his retirement. He came out of his retirement once again because everybody knows he's the best. Everybody knows Andre is the best. He came out of his retirement once again, and now we got Andre 3000 on the new Goodie Mob album with CeeLo Green. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we got Andre 3000 with CeeLo Green and the entire Dungeon family and Mike P's on the bass, but not R. Kelly did it.
Right.
P's on the
bass. No, you don't
Mike P's on the bass. Not like how.
Word. Play on words. Hey, play on words.
But Zach, I'm turning up Andre right now because y'all don't know when Andre 3000 did the Jimi Hendrix movie. I gave him guitar lessons to teach him how to. I said, no, put your thumb here. Put this, like how Uncle Boogie taught me. I taught Andre.
Okay.
Put your thumb here. Do it like this. Don't do it like that. And that's my Dungeon family. Like, let's talk about Big Rube. Let's talk about Rico Wade. Let's talk about Cujo Goody.
Yeah.
Mind you, I ain't even had a haircut. I ain't had a haircut since March. I look like the first Lionel from the Jeffersons. Like, I'm rocking the fro.
You're holding it down, though. You know what I'm saying? You're holding it down.
I'm rocking the fro, baby.
See, when you get like this, you know it's a wrap. Just wrap it up. It's going. Goodbye. This was once a proud civilization up here of standing. Now it's nothing but the ruins. Only the ruins are left. The ruins. That's it. I got the ruins. That's it. That's it, brother. This was a proud civilization at one point. But you know, everything stands a test of time.
For real, Zach. I want to talk about my Dungeon family.
Let's go with it.
I want to talk about Garrett. I want to talk about Garrett Scheider. I want to talk about Kendra Foster. I want to talk about my Uncle Boogie project, Cordell Boogie Mawson tribute album. Like, we got some things on the table that they cannot take away from us. Like Garrett, I'm proud of Garrett. Like Billy is gonna be Billy. Like he bullies all of us. It's not just you. Like Billy told me one day, he said, "You will never play bass for Funkadelic." I said, "Okay, I proved you wrong." Like, you know what I mean? Like, come on, let's talk about my P-Funk family. But they want to bring out the best in you. They want to bring out the best in you, man.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Because I didn't know none of that.
Billy Bass.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Bass is the OG. So nobody can tell him what to say. Nobody can tell him what to say.
Yeah, he's the OG. Yeah, you know, I just saw a little blurb, and I don't, you know me, I don't get caught up in nothing negative, man, with that, especially publicly. But I saw a little blurb, and it was Keith Jackson had mentioned, hey, let's try to do something, keep something moving or something. It was something on P-Funk Radio in one of the boxes. I don't think Keith said it, but I think somebody had commented, you know, and I kind of got the gist of it. And I was like, okay, well, whatever it is, it was the podcast. Because I've been trying to get Garrett on for like 3 months. So if you see him, please tell him to come on.
Garrett, I like how Garrett made lemons. He made lemonade out of lemon. You know what I mean? He took the situation, and instead of going one way, he made the best out of it for our family. Yeah. And I said, Garrett, I'm proud of you, because guess what? You speak for me too. Like the young generation of funk, the old school, even Andre Fox, they would tell me everything I did wrong. Yeah. They would tell me everything I did wrong. But guess what? They would also say it when I did it right. And George too. In George too, when I wrote the song for Outkast, he said, don't forget where you got it from. Like, they will be proud of you when you did it right, but they will talk shit when you did it wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, one of the nicest, one of the nicest compliments I ever received was when George, Bootsy, and Bernie sat me down, right? And they said, listen, I don't carry 4 drummers. George said that. But he said, you got enough in your arsenal now, so go start your own band. And at first, I was like, oh, man. Right. And at first, I didn't know how to take it. And then I understood what they was telling me. They was like saying, here, take this. You learn from us. Go run with it, right? And I took it as a compliment.
You don't need me no more. You don't need me no more. You don't need me no more. You can go off on your own.
It's man cool. But you
look at me. Look at me now. I make records. I got records. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
But I will never forget where I came from, though. I will never forget where I came from.
True that. All of us. You have to stay real. Yeah, you had to stay real. So tell me a little bit about the Goodie family. And first of all, okay, we're going to give Garrett Scheider his props out there. Everybody that knows this brother, obviously, you know, son of Gary Scheider, whatever. But let's give him his props. And again, this is the second time in 2 years that I've seen something negative. And don't be talking about people negative. Come on, give that brother a break. He's doing what he does, right?
Now, Garrett is cool. Let's talk about Marshall.
Okay.
Marshall can sing too. Marshall was the baby bro. Like Marshall, like, man, come on, man. Like Marshall, Garrett, but see, it's like they call them Heckle and Jekyll. Like when you got my Uncle Boogie and you got Gary Scheider, they came as a pair. They were together. They came as a pair. There was 2 of them. You got Gary, and you got Uncle Boogie, and they were like brothers. They were like brothers. Yeah. What I was saying was, Garrett, we ain't got to worry about Garrett. He's gonna be cool. But I'm saying Marshall, he can sing too.
Yeah, I know all of them brothers.
They got this same bloodline, like, and just like even the kids of Uncle Boogie, I say, man, y'all look like the Jacksons because y'all got that bloodline. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
the DNA.
I had to work harder. I had to work harder.
Same.
I come from a I never turned my back on the truth. Like, yeah, all right, I had to work harder, but GC3 was my best friend in life. George Clinton III. Like a lot of people don't understand. George Clinton is actually a junior, and his son was the third, or we call him the turd. We call him the turd. George the turd. But no, that was my best friend I ever had in life. That's all. But I'm just saying, like, that the family, the royal bloodline, it goes down, and we gotta stay true to it.
Yeah,
we gotta do it our way, but never forget where you came from.
That's right. And that's something you do very, very well. Here we are hanging out with my man Michael B. Patterson, from Pobody's Nervig, P-Funk alumni guitarist, working down there with the Goodie Mob, producer, echelons, blowing up, and all that good stuff. So funk up, and Benevolent Funk, Donna Sneed, Otis Hawk. I know y'all out there watching. So, man, shouts out. Thank you, Otis, for, making it happen with my man Mike P today on Funk Music with Zach on IBM.TV. Thank you to all our sponsors out there. So, what are some new ideas and innovative ways since we've been locked down? Last time I saw you was May, and then I saw you again in like July, and now here we are again in bro, it's almost Thanksgiving.
Guess what? I still ain't got a haircut.
Still ain't got a haircut
yet.
Hey,
I'm rocking the pro. I'm rocking the pro, baby. I'm rocking. I got a whole photo. I got a photo shoot coming up, but I'm rocking the fro. I ain't finna cut my hair.
Don't. If I had the ability to grow hair.
Hey, Zach, why I look like I'm in the band War? Why I look like...
Oh, you totally rocking Lee Oscar. I feel you. You totally rocking Lee Oscar. You rocking Lee Oscar.
Run together. Me and baby. Why I look like I'm in War? Like, do I play the harmonic? Like, me and baby brother.
Lee Oscar. Yo, if I had the ability to grow hair, I actually would grow it like Rapunzel. Okay? If I would grow my hair like Rapunzel. And I know Mark is behind the glass laughing at me because he can still grow hair.
I want to send a shout out to my uncle Clip Payne. Right, I'm not as thick as you drunk I am. No, I want to send a shout out to my uncle Clip Payne. Like, come on, man. Like, we gotta one time for Clip Payne, one time for Andre Fox, one time for Big Brother Lige, because y'all don't understand. Like,
I've been trying to get them all on.
When it comes to playing the bass, Lige, like he soaked up and he absorbed all the funk, but y'all don't appreciate him.
And don't forget Skeet. Don't forget Skeet. I was just talking to Skeet the other day.
No, Skeet, that's too easy. He's already a bass master. He's already he was born like hold on. Somebody said, look, like Skeet would say, like Skeet was boom, but do it like Skeet couldn't wait to like go in on you, and I was like, damn, all right, but see, somebody say. Like Uncle Boosie, like a dooba beat. Like Boosie might be the funkiest individual that was ever born because he couldn't wait. I think Fred Wesley said Boosie could pick up a stick off the ground and do something funky with. Like Boosie, I don't know. It makes me go practice. It makes me go practice because
and it's sound.
Like it makes me go practice because like even my Uncle Boogie would tell me the things I needed to work on, but at the end of the day, I wanted to even be better than that. Like, and that's why the next generation of funk is going to be even better. You know, like Garrett, Kendra Foster. You know what I mean? Like even Young Poppy, Trezvant, like they're gonna be like and people worry about what's going on with the funk. No, we good. Don't worry, we good.
Yeah, we sure good because you know what?
Generation,
they're coming,
we good.
But still, you still have the people sitting here like us that we can't even get out and really get that live thing yet because of where we are. So funk, like George said, funk will survive just like it always does. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what funk is, making something out of nothing.
Like George, ain't that funky kind of hard on you? He say, I was hard when I started. I'll be hard when I get through.
That's right. That's right.
No, but see, George say, look, with my back against the wall, I may stumble, but I won't fall.
That's right. That's
hard,
right.
I'm going to show you harder than you ever seen. But see, y'all don't remember this. George say, I'm too mean to fall. I just lean.
Right. Get that gang.
I'm too mean.
So Mike, here's what I need.
But they didn't use that.
I need a favor.
That part on the record.
I know.
I'm too mean to fall. I just lean.
I need a favor. I've been trying to get Lodge, Garrett, and I just sent a message to Carlin Clinton yesterday because I've been trying to get her on. I'm trying to get people on post election so I can have a really good end to the year with a lot of funkages. So maybe they'll get back. But if you reach out to them, man, tell them the show is cool. I know they think, maybe it might go in a different direction, but it ain't about that. You know that. Hit them up. Yo, so tell me about your work. Tell the audience about your work on this. Tell people that don't know. Tell them about that.
I'm not trying to brag. But I'll let you know what happened. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. I was putting that back. Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, me and my Uncle Boogie was a vital part of my life and a vital part of me being a bass player. And then when he passed away, now me and Donna come together, and I'm like, well, Donna, I feel like I need to be in charge of the Uncle Boogie tribute album because he spent so much time with me, and I don't feel like nobody else is going to step up to be in charge. So I said, okay, let me. I feel because the thing was when Uncle Boogie passed away, I never got my chance to say goodbye. So me producing this album is my salute to Uncle Boogie. You know what I mean?
Toast to the Boogie.
When we did. No, but the thing was, she said, we want to do a song like We Are the World for funk. We want to do a We Are the World version of funk music. And I said, all right, we are the keepers of the funk. We are the children of the funk. And that's when I wrote that song, it was really me, GC3, Trey Lou, Kendra, I really wrote that song a long time ago, but when she brought it up, it made me remember. And I said, you know what? I got the perfect thing. We are the keepers of the funk. And then when Kendra came in, we did our version. I got Cujo Goodie from the Dungeon family. And then Donna was like, well, damn, all right, we're going to do the old school and we're going to do the new school. The next exit, when that bass player come in, he playing the same thing I played. You a boop beat, do the beat it up, bop, bop. But I like how they did it. You know what I mean? But they did the old school version, but I did the new school version.
Right. Okay.
But it's the same. It's the same format, but it's two generations. Funk expands past generations. You know what I mean? Like you do it your way, I do it my way, but it's still the same thing. It's still the same feeling on the inside. It comes from the same feeling on the.
That's right. That's right.
But the next, when they say, we have come to take your mind to a place that we create within our mental state. Like I wrote that, but they did it their way. And
Right.
I did it my way. You know what I mean? Turn up.
Yeah,
I love. One time for Get Down Brown. I love him.
Yeah, you know when you guys were working on that, and a lot of it was done, a little bit was done, most of it pre the COVID stuff, correct? Like we weren't in this thing yet. So I know, and believe me, the launch and everything of the party, we're going to have to push all that back. But we all have so much stuff coming out in 2021. That's why we all need to get together, because there's so many groups that had to just hold it back a minute till 2021. So whenever we all can break out, brother, we got to do massive, large concerts together. We have to, because it's just, Absolutely. We're like, you know, besides P-Funk and Bootsy and all of them, it's like that next thing you said, we just going to keep taking it to another level. And that's what George and them would want. You know, that's what George wants now in Bootsy. That's why they're doing what they're doing. If you notice, they kind of step back a minute and they're kind of letting other things get to the forefront because, you know, they know they're the foundation. We
didn't have a choice. We didn't have a choice but to step back. I mean, look at your president. Your president said, look, the coronavirus is not a big deal. Now he got the shit. Like, really? Yeah. Like, he said it wasn't a big deal. Now you got it. Like, that's when when they say your walls come crumbling down. Like, the walls of your house are crumbling down.
Yeah, man.
Like, man, come on.
Yeah, like, yeah. And, you know, that I felt bad because I was talking about this when we were bringing you on early about, you know, voter suppression and all this other kind of crazy stuff, right? But still, we gonna rise, still, because you can't stop the funk. America right now got funky. You know what I'm saying? America's like, all right, boom, had enough, boom, let's get funky on them, and that's what we got to do. Take some of this stuff back, you know?
Right. Just like Billy Bass, America's gone Billy Bass. Now it's time to talk shit.
Yeah,
we're gonna tell you everything you did wrong. but we got to be proud of you when you did stuff right too, though.
So check this out. You said you had some new music. You gonna play some new music for us? What you got new?
I'm finna play some old shit y'all never heard. I'm finna play some old shit y'all never heard.
Go ahead. Play it up.
Yeah, but no, I was really trying to talk about Uncle Billy, like, in this, it's the same symbolism of America. I'm here, but I'm gonna talk shit the whole time because I was here before you. So that I reserve the right to talk shit. You know what I mean? But that's gonna make you stronger because now you know what I mean. Like, but like even George, my uncle Boogie, like they would always find a slick way to tell me what I needed to work on without. Billy say, fuck all that. Billy told me, he said, you would never be a funkadelic. Billy didn't care about hurting your Billy didn't care about hurting your feelings. So that's just Billy being Billy, man. You know what I mean? So come on, man. All right, let me see if I can find this shit.
Man. Yo. So what's the name of this that you working on? What's this new
song? No, guess what? It was an honor being cussed out by Billy. It was an honor.
Because they care.
Fuck out of here, it's man.
Tough. They care. Yeah, man.
Right.
Yep. Because if people don't care about you, they won't show any passion in you. You know what I mean?
They won't even give a fuck. Right. Because if just the simple fact that he took time to say something, it meant something to him. You know what I mean? All right. I'm gonna play this one song and then I'm about to go. Because every time I try to go out, they bring me back in. You know? No, it's crazy though. But no, Big Boy has a concert from Outkast, and like Andre 3000, he came back in. Dungeon Family up. My P-Funk family is turned up. We're not doing a lot of concerts right now, But just wait. We finna get in their ass. We finna get in.
I feel the same way. I can't wait to hit the stage one day again.
Yeah. Let me see if I can pull this shit up. Hope everybody can hear it because I think my microphone is on.
Yeah, it's
I got
on.
this
I
one
hear
song
you.
that I did. But see, y'all got to understand. Like, there was one engineer that came into our family, and George was like trying to sell him on us. He said, "Look, I got this one girl. She sounded like Billie Holiday." Talking about Kendra.
Right.
He said, "Look, I got this one guy. He remind you of Prince." I mean, like, come on, man. He never told me that.
Hey, well, that's a high compliment
right there. This right, but and like George was always my but when George liked something, he act like he not paying attention. But if George listened to your music and he be like, "Yeah, man," like, oh, he no, he don't get it. But when he act like he's not listening, that's when he's listening.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. When
it's always the reverse.
Like he's not listening. When he act like but when he say yeah, oh boom boom boom, he don't give a fuck about that. But when he act like when he start looking in his bag, when you play your music, he start looking in his bag.
Right.
Damn. Okay.
Yep.
Turn up.
You know what? That's why. Let me show you this. Do you see that? That's where I got my phone from right there. You see that? That's who's right there. Who is right on the pigtail of the funky? All right. That's how close I was. That's how close I was with that man. You know, when it came to learning.
Hold on. I'm trying to find this one song I was looking for. No, hold on.
And I keep it humble. People don't even know, but I keep it humble. But I learned from that funk school. I was in there a lot.
Absolutely.
A lot. Never missed a class. I graduated with funk hip hopology.
Okay, I think I can find it now. Okay, boom.
What's the track name? What is the name of it?
I'm looking for this one song. It was an instrumental, but it was Mike P on the bass.
Okay.
Mike P's on the bass, but not like how R. Kelly.
No, none of us want to do like that. None of us.
See, he said, "My mind." Hey, what did he say? My mind is telling me no, but my body says yes. No, you should have listened to your mind. Your mind, now, you said, "My mind is telling me no, but my body is saying yeah."
We got about 10 minutes to go. Okay, I just want to keep you on track. We got 10 minutes to go.
No, it's cool. It's cool. Like, and a shout out to Bill Cosby. Like all our people in jail. Like, come on, poor body's nerfing. Poor body's nerfing. Right. I like how they try to bang on Bill Cosby, but you forget about all the good things he did for our community. And like even R. Kelly, yeah, he peed on some people, but he made music. Like, let's talk about Marion Barry. Like, that's why I say poor body's nerfing. We all have things we need to work on, man. But don't take away from me the good things that I did. You know what I mean? Is that?
Yep. I feel you.
Fucking up right now.
Don't
you know
worry
what I mean?
it.
Like Marion Barry, DC still love Marion Barry to this day.
Yeah.
You can't judge me. You can't judge me on one thing that I did wrong out of the 10,000 things that I did right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. When
all right.
This is you right here? You did this in your studio?
I'm trying to put.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And again, we hanging out.
I was just playing it. Like,
B. Patterson, hanging out down there in Georgia, and he does all his own things, and Next Exit and Benevolent Funk and the Goodie Mob, and working with Funkadelic and George Clinton and producing Kendra Foster. We're going to have to, maybe you and her can come on another show another time, and then y'all could just chop it up together, because I've been trying to get a lot of them to come on. I think they might not know me, so they're a little bit apprehensive about it, the younger P-Funkadelics, But, I'd love to have them come on. It's a cool show, and we just sit here and kick it and talk about the funk and how we can change the world with it, stay positive and peace and love each other. That's what IBM is about. It's supposed to be, we love each other and, trying to uplift each other. And, it's not about that whole ego thing. Once we get on these shows, we just kind of really want to just make everybody feel comfortable, warm, loving. And so if you guys are listening out there, Garrett, Kendra, I really, really want to get you guys on, and we sit down and kick it Saturday or Sunday. My Saturday show, Funk from the Front Seat, I started that on Facebook. IBM picked it up, so it's kind of cool. And Sunday, here we are, Funk Music with Zack. So if you guys are out there, man, please just give me a call. Donna knows how to reach me. Mikey P knows how to reach me. Linda Scheider, Garrett, I had your mom on. She was cool. And I ain't going to really get into all of that personal negative stuff. That was never me. That's not me. I'm a man that shoots straight from the hip. I say exactly what I mean. There's no one controlling me. I have no agenda. I'm allowed and given free reign on my platforms on IBM, which I'm grateful to. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Nick. So all of that good stuff, that you hear from other shows, you're not really going to get that from me. My thing is about supporting live music, supporting studio music, supporting artists, actresses, writers, Tai Chi, and Namaste, folks that take care of our spiritual needs. That's what I'm about. I'm not really throwing shade on anybody for anything, because that's not really what the world is about. Bootsy said it the other night. We got enough people hating. We got enough people that, people are quick to tear you down. People always want to do that. They're really, really quick to tear you down. But, when it comes to lifting and building people up, very few people even understand, and make sure, it's always going to be on your own terms, because at some point in life, you got to sink or swim, and you got to do what's best for you. And when you guys have this new music and y'all want to, come out and kick it and, just share information, this is what we're doing. Okay, I just got a message from Mikey B. Mark. Why don't you pop on for a minute, because I wanted to tell you what he said. He said he's having technical difficulties, and maybe he can get back on, on another Sunday. But wrapping up the show, and again, today, our guest was Mike B. Patterson. And I know the rain, and this, Mark, has a lot to do with things. We call it Sir Nose devoid of funk. The rain has a lot to do with how signals and bandwidth and this and that. But Mike was having problems, a little bit down there. And, we're just going to continue to kick it. We got about 2 minutes left. So, Mark, your final thoughts on the old new Mikey P. When he comes on, we always know he's going to be wide open, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely wide open. He was definitely giving you some flavor, giving you some energy, giving you the way that Mikey P does. And I was actually enjoying that energy and that flavor because, like I said, I like to mix up with a lot of different kind of folks. You know that about me. And I love the folks are one of the things I can say honestly about you and your friends is that y'all are very authentic. Y'all are not going to come with a lot of BS. Y'all are not going to come with a lot of nonsense and things of that nature. And that's what I love about both you and your friends, your peers in the funk community and things of that nature. Because one of the things that I can say, you had Jazz on yesterday on Funk from the Front Seat. She comes out of the R&B and blues community. And, I'm a big fan of the blues. And, I don't care whether it's blues, whether it's funk, whether it's jazz, whether it's R&B, shucks. I don't care if it's country or folk. what I've noticed about musicians, most musicians are going to be real with you. They're going to tell you what's going on. They're going to tell you how they feel. They're going to let you know what's going on in their mind and everything. You might not even agree with them because, I mean, there's some folks that have been on the conservative side out of country and Western, things like that, that I may not agree with what they were talking about, but I also knew that they were being real. Like, I might not agree with everything that, say, a Garth Brooks or somebody like that out of country has said and everything, but I still appreciate the fact that they are authentic. And as you know, I'm a big fan of the creative community. And that's what I love about the creative community. The artists, the musicians, the actors, a lot of those other folks, they're going to keep it real with you, and they're going to keep it real like tight. They're going to let you know what's on their mind, and they're going to let you know how they feel about things and things along that line. So, as a matter of fact, speaking of folks keeping it real, and we might have some other ones.
I just wanted to tell you something really fast, though. You heard the hair jokes, right?
I did hear the hair jokes.
I could feel you back there because obviously the hair you once had here is now here. So
yes, exactly.
Let me ask you. I'm going to interview you now. How did you make the transition from this hair, that hair, to this hair? Please tell the world.
I'm still trying to deal with it.
I had a civilization, and now these are just the remnants. You know what I'm saying?
That's all. I still have to deal with that as well. Like I said, you're right. The hair up on the top, and it's a hereditary thing. My dad's got thinning hair as well. I want to say my brother's got that as well. So it is definitely hereditary. But at the same time, and of course, I got the thick beard. It is time for to go to the barber, and I was actually thinking about that earlier. I might go try to see them on either Monday or Tuesday. But
bro, you look like Roethlisberger, bro. You running a Roethlisberger beard. You got Klondike in there like Alaska beard, bro. You got enough hair on your face to do several hair transplants for people, bro. I ain't never even seen that before, man. I can't even really see your lips, you know, and it looks good. It looks good on you. You wear it well, man. You rock it. You can pull it off. You pulling it off. I gotta tell you, you pulling it off. So go ahead, but I just had to get that out the way because I know you were back there laughing.
No, I was laughing at that. And like I said, I was, it is something that I have joking with even as I've gotten older and everything, because, definitely I've got the thinning hair. And sometimes I'd be sitting there going like, I've seen pictures of when I was rocking the afro back in college and everything and going like, those days are gone. Don't know if they'll ever come back or anything along that line. So definitely I got what you're saying and everything. But I want to bring in a good friend of both of ours and everything, and we might have some other ones that'll join us as well. But we got our buddy Jeff going on, and I don't know if you know this, but Jeff is also, and he's rocking a cap. I see he's rocking a cap over there.
Wait. I got the fro.
You got the fro. Jeff got the fro. But but Jeff is a baseball guy, and I know he was rooting for the Dodgers and everything. And, I don't claim to be the biggest baseball fan. I'm probably bigger and more into football and basketball. But when it comes to World Series time and pennant time and a couple of the championships, I will follow the games. And I was watching it late last night because that game was crazy. Like I said, I
missed the end. I missed
who won? Who won?
Tampa Bay won 8-7. And it was the craziest game.
It was a walk-off.
Yeah, so it was an unsung.
It's 2-2 now, right? Oh, LA, y'all in trouble.
Don't tell Jeff that. Jeff is a Dodgers fan. We are here in Durham, North Carolina, which is the home of the Durham Bulls. And, of course, the Tampa Bay Rays are now their parent company and have been for several years. I want to say almost a decade or so. So definitely I know a lot of folks here in Durham are rooting for the Tampa Bay Rays. But, yes, it was I won't say they had 2 strikes and the guy hit it, who was an unsung hero. And then I don't know what the Dodgers were doing. The Dodgers are strongly favored to win this thing, but they had, I think, not 1, but 2, maybe even 3 errors, including a throw to the pitch where the catcher goes around and loses the ball. Like I said, you very seldom see that in a game. That was just insane.
I got to tell Jeff this. Jeff, I am a Dodger cousin because people don't know the New York Mets, right? The Dodgers were the New York National League team and the Giants. When the Giants went,
the Brooklyn Dodgers,
right, and the New York Giants, and they were the 2 National League teams in New York. But when they both left, there was no National League team in that major market. So the Mets took the Dodger blue and the Giant orange and made their colors. So we're cousins, little offshoot cousins, baby brothers. Yes, that's how we got our colors. We took the Giants and the Dodgers, National League colors, and made our colors. That's why we are blue and orange. So we're actually descendants of you. All right, just so you know.
Okay,
Yep.
well.
No, that's a true story. That's a fact. That's where they got their colors from. New York said, what color? Because the Yankees had the pinstripes. And New York, Casey Stengel said, well, what are our colors going to be? He was the first Mets manager. And they said, well, why don't you take the two National League colors and combine them? That's how we got the Dodger blue and the Giant orange. That's a true story. And we're really called the New York Metropolitans, but they cut it short because the name wouldn't fit on the jersey. So it's the New York Mets. So just so you know, I pull for the Dodgers. I don't care who wins. I'm easy.
I do care who wins because well, you know, when I was in LA and I was doing Mr. Polaroid in the nightclubs in the 80s, and I would go scoop on chicks and do my Polaroids and walk from table to table, and I got Madonna and and Jack Nicholson and everything like that. Well, I hung out with the newscasters and got to meet Magic Johnson and Kareem out in the nightclubs. And so I was behind the scenes those days, but I wasn't starstruck because my dad not only had Laker tickets and I got to go on the floor and photograph those days. They let young kids with big cameras down there that my daddy gave me. I got to see Wilt and Jerry.
Wow.
I got to see Magic and Kareem. And Shaq and Kobe I saw a couple times, but that was on my own. But and I got to go back to back to back on parades in LA. But that gave me my juice for that. But for baseball, my dad had tickets, and I got to see Willie Mays.
Wow.
I got to see Johnny Bench. I got to see Pete Rose. I got to see all the freaking Dodger greats, when I was growing up. I was 10 years old when I saw Sandy Koufax.
Yeah. You want to hear something? When I was a kid, right, and my dad was a Dodgers fan, diehard, because of Jackie Robinson, obviously, right? And when the Mets came in, they weren't really that good. So what I used to have to do, I used to go to my friend's house, and he was a Yankee fan, right? And at the time, the Yankees were starting to get good. This was after the Mets had already won the World Series in '69, right? Then they lost again in
the
73.
Miracle Match. The Miracle Match.
But my friend had Yankee tickets, and I got a chance to see the back-to-back Thurman Munson, Reggie Jackson, Goose Gossage, Willie Randolph, those guys, Chambliss. I saw the 78 79 Yankees, and I went to one game where Ron Guidry threw a one-hit shutout. You know what I mean? And Mickey Rivers hit a triple, and I'll never forget that. I had all of this Yankee memorabilia, and when I got dropped off at the car, my friend said, "Hey, take your stuff." I said, "I can't go on the side with that." I said, "My father will kill me." I had like the pennants and all that for the Yankees. I said, no, you got to keep that. I said, I can't bring that inside. My father will kill me. I said, he can't stand the Yankees. And New York at that time, when baseball was hot, those Yankees were amazing, especially when Reggie came. Let's
give a moment of silence for my favorite pitcher of all times, Bob Gibson.
Yeah, Gibby.
He was my favorite pitcher of all times.
Yeah. We love you, Bob.
And my favorite, and maybe because I still got an afro, my favorite tennis player was Arthur Ashe.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Arthur was amazing. There's no doubt about that. Arthur was an amazing tennis player and all that. There's no doubt that he had some great skills and all of that I can add and everything. One thing I was going to add, Jeff, and I want to get into maybe a little bit of political discussion as well, but I was just wondering, could you just share with our listeners, I know you shared it before, a little bit about that growing up doing that music career that you had, because you have done a lot in both music and film, and you've shared it before on the platform, but a lot of folks may not know all of what you did in the music and the film scene. And of course, you had that club, and a lot of people may not even know about that club. So I'd love for you to talk about that and your ties to the rap industry even.
The two clubs that I was famous for spearheading during John Belushi days, and Club Zero, which was always had 2 inches of water on the floor in LA down on Highland Avenue. We'd go there, and Belushi was there, and all those things. It was during the time, the heyday, everybody, Robin Williams was out, a lot of cocaine, a lot of stuff going on, but I was always sober. I always drove everybody home, and I was a photographer during those days. But the story I think that you want to hear is my hip hop days was at Club Radio in MacArthur Park. And we filmed Breakin' and Electric Boogaloo at my club, or at the club that I lived on top of. And my friend KK, who started Club Radio, had Electra Bombada was there, and African Bombada, and all the people. And during that time, Ice-T, before he did the band Cop Killers, spun every night at our club on Saturday night, and he'd get out of a Porsche Whaletail, red Porsche Whaletail, and these girls would get out, and it would take them minutes to get out because their legs were so long and they were so beautiful and foxy babes, and they would go and spin at our club, and we'd have circles of breakdancers. Pop and Lock was there, and the guy that had polio could spin for like 5 minutes, throw his legs in the air, and turn them into a helicopter. And those were the days, my friend. And that's kind of my story, is Breakin' and Electric Boogaloo. I got to be part of that era where breakdancing was stopping the gangs and the banging and the killing between the gangs, the rivals in LA. Same with graffiti. Graffiti became an art, and we had a wall in our parking lot that the owner of the property, Mr. Huntsberger, he painted the wall once a month white, and then the kids had a place to paint again. So they didn't go and graffiti the whole place. So we had this beautiful place, and then some of the graffiti artists started to become like incredible New York stars with graffiti on canvases, and they were selling their paintings for $1 million.
Wow.
So that whole story is true.
Yeah, pop lockers, man, they used to get around the world, man. And when that first started, that whole thing, and the popping and the breaking, and, it was a culture. People forget. Hip-hop is not music. It's a culture. It's a way of life. Hip-hop rap. It's not just music. And I hated it when they started just saying that, because then you had people that weren't even hip-hoppers or didn't know nothing about it, jumping on the bandwagon, calling themselves hip-hop artists. And they really were not. People need to get that twisted. And I'm really, really upset at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for not understanding the difference. Run DMC went in, Eric B. and Rakim went in, people like that went in. And when you have people on the stage, like one of my favorite rappers is Eminem, when he's there to induct Eric B. and Rakim in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they're basically saying, listen, yes, you guys bridged the gap. But then you had everybody else trying to feed off that, and it really was just BS. People that didn't even rap or knew anything about the hip-hop culture was spitting out music, calling it under the hip-hop brand. And I understand why true hip-hoppers got mad. Just like I would get pissed off if somebody told me Bruno Mars was funk. I'd be like, no, he played a funky song, but he is not funk. Funkadelic is funk.
Well, same with Prince. Same with Prince.
No, I agree with both of y'all. By the way, I was waiting to do this all day long, so I got to mess with Zach and everything right now because we have another Zach on the show as well. So I needed the Zach.
Oh no, Zach. This guy! I heard all about you. Get off!
What up? Hello.
Yes, we got the Zach beat Zach moment because we got Dylan and we got the other Zach. So we got the two Zachs, and of course we got the two Zachs on the show. So I need to have my Zach moment. So Zach beat Zach.
I've been avoiding him. No, it's nice to meet you. All kidding aside, thank you.
What's happening?
Yeah, how you doing, man? I heard all about you guys and your comedy thing, and I catch you. I go back and watch your reruns, and I dig what y'all are doing, man. That's mad crazy cool.
Oh, cool.
Hey, can you come up with something, a magazine for my funky stuff? I got a few things, and that I'm working on, just for my music stuff. So I think you guys would be very interested. It's really graphically explodes. My artist Curtis Wilcox. So I would like to check some stuff out and hang out with y'all one day. So I finally get a chance to meet you, man. How long you been named Zach?
Pretty much my whole life. Yeah, I've been doing this for a while. But it's funny because every time I'm on meetings with IBM TV, they're like, "Oh, Zach this and Zach that." I'm like, I don't think I do that. And it's the other Zach always. It's the better Zach.
No. You trust me. You're the man because as soon as you came on, I was like, oh, another. And then I think we got a third one, right? Don't we have a third one?
I got to double check. I know there's a third one that's a friend of mine that I ran into yesterday at one of the restaurants. So there's at least 3 Zachs in my life. I don't know if there's a third Zach on IBM TV, but I have to do some research. I know that there are 2 Marks now because one of the Marks does a financial show. But I had to have this moment. And by the way, Zach over there on the West Coast, I understand that you were telling me y'all had, we're having rain and y'all got snow. Y'all had snow today. So tell us about this snow because y'all had snow today.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to turn this up briefly. I couldn't hear the question.
Oh, they're asking about the snow. Yeah, so we woke up this morning and we had about 3 or 4 inches on the ground, and it's supposed to snow till tomorrow 8 a.m.
Yeah,
so
through tomorrow morning.
Yeah, got a whole day of snow randomly, which is good because the mountains are on fire. So we need this. This is good.
Yeah, definitely. Tell us about how that fire is going, because like I said, I know a lot of time, and Jeff did a fundraiser for what was going on in California, but I know it's been hitting Colorado and a number of other West Coast places as well. So, and I know that we've also got another star of the network as well. So I want to bring in the legendary Wynn Charles, because Wynn Charles, y'all think that I do stuff with podcasting and everything, and I know somebody does stuff with podcasting. This woman had like some record amount of downloads and everything. What was it? Was it like 60,000 or something like that? She got initially 60,000, and then she set a goal of like 400 a day, and I think she's averaging that. And of course, she's now part of the IBM TV family, and we're so glad to have Wynn on. And she is an advocate for women's rights, the rights of the disabled, because she does fight cerebral palsy and a number of other things. So she's just an amazing lady. So Zach, I don't know if you've had the pleasure, either of the Zachs or Jeff. I know Jeff has, but I don't know if either of the Zachs or Dylan or Funk Zach have had the pleasure of meeting Wynn Charles. But she is a truly amazing lady, just doing some great things in the world of podcasting, and is part of our family here.
Well, thank you, Mark, for saying that. But yes, the wildfires and the snow are affecting us just as much as they're affecting Zach on the West Coast. And I feel like our whole state between Colorado and California is on fire. And so we hope that the major snowstorm that is about to hit me helps with the wildfires, because for those of you who've ever, and I'm talking to the audience, for those of you who've ever experienced a wildfire, it's not fun, and in a combination with weakened lungs, it's not fun either. So I'm hoping that the snowstorm could help with putting out the wildfires. Now, I know that some places in Colorado are burning. I haven't seeing the latest in California. So, Jeff, you know more than I do about California wildfires. But I think with the snow, I think that we're going to have a good combination and hopefully get these wildfires out and under control.
Yeah, that sounds great, and I know that that's what a lot of people are looking for. And speaking of folks, we got the Buffalo Bill in the house. We got none other than Bill Trezvant, and we were talking sports earlier because I was talking about that crazy game yesterday with the Dodgers and the Tampa Bay Rays and how that game ended and everything, and it was just incredible ending to that game. But I know that he is a Buffalo Bills fan, Mr. Trezvant, and everything. But the other thing that he's very much involved in, and I know Zach and everybody else loves to talk about this, is politics. And we are about 9 days away from having an election, even though it might take us about a month to figure out who actually won with everything that's going on. So I would love to hear from our now around the country. We don't have our Ankit or any of our international people on, but our around the country folks, what their thoughts are about the election. So I'll start with you, Bill.
Hold on 1 second, Mark. First of all, Bills are playing the Jets. I'm tanking for Trevor. Go Bills. Okay, let's get that out the way. All right, now go ahead.
All right. Okay. See, even we can agree. All right. Yes. Fellas, let's go around the horn. Mark, who are you going to pick first? Let's go around the horn.
I wanted to start with you, and then I'm going to come to Jeff. You represent D.C. Then we're going to come to Jeff for California. Then we're going to come to our Colorado people, and then come over here to see what Zach has got to say. Zach and me here in North Carolina. But we're going to start with you in the center of power over there in D.C. What your call is?
Okay, well, wait. What's the question? Who's going to win, or
who's going to win, and whether it's actually going to be called on Election Day, or we're going to have to wait a month to find a winner?
I think it's going to be Biden by over 300 electoral college points.
Wow.
Whoa.
So you can call me here. I'm calling Biden by 300, if not more.
If not more. And so you think that it's going to be that much of the electoral college going on the Biden side. So that's amazing. And I know a lot of folks are concerned about that.
I'm talking at least 300. It could be I would say 327, something in there. Something that is so horrifically horrific for Trump that there's no escaping. Sometimes you just lose the fight. I remember when I was a kid, I wasn't big enough and, got into a fight and I just lost the fight, and you walk around and maybe your buddies are there with you when they're licking your wounds, but he's going to lose this fight. I mean, listen, over 50 million people have already voted.
Wow.
Okay. Hang on. Who are the first ones to get to the polls? It's not like his buddies are his supporters are I got to get to the polls. I got to get to the polls. I got to get to the... No, it's everybody else who's I've been waiting 3 years. I'm going to cast my vote.
Mm-hmm.
That's 50 million.
That is, you got a point there. I'd love to hear from Jeff what his views are from California, and I'm going to come to my Colorado folks and everything. The one thing that I mentioned to Zach recently was I made the mistake of scanning around on the internet, YouTube, and things of that nature. It was not on IBM TV. For one, they were probably much more conservative than any of us are here on there, but I stumbled across some conservative folks that were Trump supporters, and they definitely were trying to mobilize their folks. So that's when I got a little concerned because I do sometimes...
No, time out. That's all I'm going to do. It's the only time I'm going to butt in, and please don't mind me. Okay, and it's simply this. First of all, it's a Sunday, and so I'm off of work, technically. I'm also missing the Bills-Jets game, although, Zach, I appreciate it. But, every little bit counts, okay? Third, it's one of these things. These are the same supporters that thought that they could get away with kidnapping not one but two governors. One in Michigan and then one in Ohio. They thought about kidnapping the governor of Ohio, Mike DeWine, and he's a Republican. Okay. These are the same people that were drinking bleach and thought hydrochloroquine. These are the same people that think that you can get COVID, which is this, that can't be stopped anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world. But Trump, because of his super genes, is over it in 5 days.
Wow.
These are the same people that you're listening to. And I'm just saying, okay, well, maybe. Every now and then a squirrel gets a nut.
Right.
Let's go around the horn.
Yep. Jeff, what's your take from California? California is known as definitely a super liberal area and everything, and I consider myself progressive and liberal. So I'm thinking it's going to be a landslide, like a massive landslide in California, but I want to know what your thoughts are.
Well, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do know who took Prince down and John Lennon and Tom Petty, but opiates and Big Pharma. But did the president of the United States ever even have COVID?
It's okay. We
was it a party? Did we ever land on the moon? Was there a plane that ever hit the Pentagon? They never found a plane in the Pentagon, everybody.
Yeah, you know who brought that up first?
What the fuck?
Sasha brought it up on television about a week ago. Sasha from Canada and Russia. He brought it up and said that he doubted. And we spent an hour on that very subject. And
he's not coughing. He's not coughing. He's not like out of breath. I mean, what the F, you know? Oh,
he got replaced by a clone.
Hey, I made it through, and everybody can make it through. He's not playing the game, and also Biden freaking killed him during the debates.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with you on that. So I'm going to come to Colorado and everything. By the way, Zach and Dylan, it seems to me that this would be a plot for one of your TV shows, what's going on in the world and whether any of these things happen. So I think we've got a plot for the next show that y'all have got of Talking Upstream is what this is.
My uncle writes political and bioterrorism thrillers. He was a macrobiologist for 25 years, and now he makes a living as a novelist. And he says that the people in his social circle who write political thrillers primarily are scrambling to try and come up with anything that can match what has been happening. This is not a joke. He says that people are really having a hard time doing political novels because it's really difficult to do anything set in either now or 5 years in the future without referencing current events because it's going to be around forever.
I think Saturday Night Live gets it pretty darn good. Alec Baldwin is a hero.
Yeah, but I know for me, the day that we were allowed to go and physically vote in person, I was there the very first day. I wanted to push that button so hard against Trump, and I was waiting so long for that. But the thing that Dylan and I were talking about was, if you think about the movie Back to the Future 2, the main bad guy, Biff, was geared after Donald Trump. Zemeckis said that. He's like, if we could think of who the worst person could be in the future, it would be Donald Trump. But if you think that we had this warning 20 years ago and we still said, let's vote this guy in for some reason. That's just so stupid to me. So
what about Lisa in The Simpsons? She saw it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Lisa Simpson had a dream that Trump was going to become president.
President Trump has been projected forward in pop culture for a long time as a joke. And unfortunately, reality does tend to follow that, even if it was not meant seriously.
Yeah.
When it comes to
the jungle, sometimes it makes me wonder how I keep from going under.
Yeah. When it comes to the election, I will believe that he's no longer president when he is not in the White House any longer. I don't think it's going to be as easy as him just absconding.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
I believe early turnout is very high, and high turnout favors the Democrats historically. Mm-hmm. Not only that, but Democrats also historically vote very heavily in presidential elections. So I suspect the results are going to show him losing Trump.
Yeah, I agree with you. Go over here, say, Dylan.
He is not going to go quietly.
Yeah, he's not walking away from that White House.
And his followers are not going to go quietly.
No.
Can he commute himself? Can he commute himself?
He wouldn't.
No, I don't believe so.
No. Don't say he wouldn't. I mean, come on. You guys are supposed to storyboard this.
I meant real world, not one of our stories. In our stories, yeah, of course.
I'm saying, in the real world, it has never been tried.
Yeah, but that's the problem. He would try it. That is the problem.
Until 2016, a lot of stuff hasn't been tried either.
Yeah,
he's going to pardon himself from going to jail for taxes.
Panelists, please, let me just give you the answer, then I want to sit back because I just want to relish.
Go, Bill, go. Go, Bill, go.
Yeah.
It has never been tried. There is no law on it. There's nothing to forbid it. It has never been thinkable. And there was a question of the new Supreme Court nominee, and she refused to answer the question. And they will have a 5-4 majority, assuming Robert says that's completely crazy. So here are the two things out there to work with storyboard people. And now I'm just going to really enjoy being an audience member.
That sounds good. When? What have you got to say about this?
Mark, one, will he pardon himself? Okay?
I don't think that he – well, I think that he's –
Mark.
Yes.
One, will he pardon himself? Or two, will he resign and have Mark Kent pardon him and his entire family?
That'd be a good move.
I wouldn't be surprised about Pence, but they would need to rush that in the next week and a half.
No.
I think more like
till January 20th.
Yeah, they got till January.
Oh, you're right. I think more likely, well, actually more fun, Trump runs away to Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that idea. Yeah, I like that idea.
Country.
Yeah.
He flees the country, goes to Russia.
The minute he's out of office, the Department of New York, I think, they're coming after him.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean,
yeah, he's got to go.
You can't indict a sitting president, whatever. So the minute January 21 comes around, he has to get out of the country or he's going to be in prison. He's rich, but he's going to be tied up in legal battles for the rest of his life.
He's got to head down to Argentina with all the other rich white people.
I just watched Naked Gun, and I saw a flip at the end. He flipped in his wheelchair over the railing at the Dodger game or the Mariners game at the World Series. And I just think this could be another Naked Gun.
Jeff, we want to hear from the lady in the room. So, Wynn, you do talk to a lot of activist ladies. You talk to a lot in the disabled community. So what is your view from the ladies around the world as to how the ladies are going to come out and vote and everything? So I'd love to hear your thoughts, Wynn.
Well, my personal views stands like this. Because I am on Obamacare, and because I personally use Obamacare myself, I have voted for Joe Biden, and because I don't want Obamacare to walk away. Because if Obamacare walks away, I'm up in the creek without a paddle. Me personally, I'm up the creek without a paddle. And I think a lot of the disabled community is voting, those who can vote, is voting for Biden because they know that if they vote the other side, number one, heads of the law on my end, and number two, Obamacare will walk away. And so I'm looking at it not only as a journalist, I am not only looking at it as a disabled woman, I am also looking at it for people with disabilities as a whole. And it's interesting that we're having this conversation this morning because I am in the last couple of weeks of an American government class. And so I am looking in depth at the Americans with Disabilities Act. And so before I got on this call, I looked at my last piece of my paper and it said voting with a disability, and I pulled scholarly articles on that, and it's amazing. I didn't know that even if you did have a severe disability, I didn't know that you could vote. And every time I look in the back of a voting envelope, it says witness to witness your vote. And I didn't realize up until I did more research on this why the witness to vote was on the back of the voting envelope. And now I figured out why. I also figured out that we as American citizens don't necessarily, we cast our votes, but then it goes towards the electoral college. I did not know that. I am so used to the history class in high school. I have never sat through a history class up until this point in college and getting a journalism degree. So I feel like the disabled population is voting for Biden, and they know that the Obamacare is going to walk away if President Trump lands up in office again. and I keep teasing my stepmom and teasing the public, I keep saying, well, if President Trump, I wish President Obama gets another term, I keep teasing my public fan base and saying I'm moving states and I'm moving countries too, up to Canada, because I know that if President Trump gets another term, I know that Obamacare will be walking away.
Yep, good point that you make and everything.
Yeah.
Zach is actually the only one in this panel right now that I'm aware of has actually worked in a Trump building, if I remember correctly. So I'd love to know his thoughts because, like I said, he is the North Carolina Zach right now, even though he's really the New York Zach because he loves his New York area and all of that. But I was wondering if he could talk about that experience because if I remember correctly, I think that you actually worked in one of those Trump buildings back in the day. So you've actually got some views about how Trump even runs his businesses and everything.
Which was that the one on Wall Street? Which one?
No. He mean I was at the Twin. I'll tell you the story. I was at the Twin Towers, but I wanted to first say to win. I'm sorry you got to deal with all the things you got to deal with as a person with disabilities. That this gentleman has actually made it harder. But what I would say, it takes a sticky situation to resurrect the groove and pass it off with this much affection. In other words, the whole thing has been a TV show from the word go. If you guys remember the movie, and I'll tell you my Trump story in a second. If you guys remember the movie The Sting, remember at the end when Robert Redford, faked they got shot and the cop came in and fake shot him and they took out the mark and they walked the mark out the door and then the police turned around and said, yeah, we got him. That's what this whole thing is about because he never really wanted to win to begin with. So his whole theory, and he's a con man, his whole theory is like, well, if I get in, let me steal as much as I can steal and screw up so bad they won't even see who's arrested me on the way out the door. Like the brother said on the West Coast, he's going to jail somewhere because in New York, if he stays. So he's got to figure out a way to get on that plane and get out of here. Now, as far as who I think will win, I don't think he cares who will win or not because he's always going to say he won. And that's part of the sting. That's part of the plot. That's the long con. Donald Trump came in to run the long con. It wasn't the shell game, the short con. It was the long con. He wants this thing to be so screwed up that we will forget and people will fight and race riots and this and that he claims will happen, which I don't think they will happen. There's too many sane people. So he could just quietly slide out the door with another $1 trillion in his pocket. So I don't think he's going to win. I'm not quite as apprehensive as Bill when it comes to the Electoral College because I believe they can play with it as much as they want. So the guy said in South Carolina, I think it's better that Republicans win, so I'm going to move the red line. So I don't really trust that. But I do think Wynn has a point. So many people are infected with this virus, and so many people are worried about their health care. I don't think 401ks at this point really matter. I think he's going to lose. I think he's going to lose handily. All right. So that's my opinion on that. I worked and I'm a musician and I played at the Twin Towers and obviously Windows on the World. And I was going up to the 106th floor carrying my percussion equipment one night and there was several events. They have 5 different ballrooms up top in that building they had. The old towers. And Donald Trump was on the elevator, and he was a pompous you-know-what then. So I bent down to pick up my stuff, and Scott Clark from ABC News was there, and he was helping me. He said, oh, brother, you need help? I was like, yeah. Donald Trump practically stepped over my back, and didn't say, excuse me. So I looked at him, and I said, you really are an A, blank, 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 blank. And he just looked down at me like I was the help, and that was my only Donald Trump story. I never liked him since then. But also in New York, he kind of was very, very racist. The real Donald Trump you seeing is what you see. That's just who he is. He was always like that. So for New Yorkers, we never would have voted him in for door catcher. This is why he never ran for nothing in New York, because we are all hip to the long con. It's the long con. The end game for him, get as much money as he can and get out the door.
Yep.
That makes a lot of sense. Hey, West Coast Zach, and then I'm gonna keep the conversation going and everything. But one of the things I'm curious about is, if I remember correctly, both of y'all work in day jobs as well. I want to say that it's in that whole service industry, kind of like in the restaurant industry and things of that nature. And I know that that's a part that is being impacted a lot because of the fact that the stimulus package is still in a hold up and things of that nature. So in your environment, both with the artists, because you do work with a lot of artists, actors, musicians, and other folks that do work service jobs and also work in the gig economy. So how is the economy being impacted among your peers? Because that's my other concern, is that we're in an economic crisis. So I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on the economic crisis that we're in from a West Coast perspective.
Our jobs, we have security in that people are always going to need to buy groceries, and we are there to provide them for them effectively. I have a lot of friends who are in restaurant industries currently in Boulder, and Boulder used to have a really, really thriving restaurant culture, despite the fact that rent in Boulder for businesses is really high. The profit was enough that it would be okay. A lot of them are having a lot of trouble, and with this snow that is currently coming down and expected to keep coming down, the outdoor seating that has kept a lot of these people going, it's starting to look like a less appealing option. I know that a lot of places are starting to get heaters. They're starting to get like space heaters for their outside tables. But the reality of the situation is, if I want to go out and eat somewhere, the reality of sitting at a table in the snow, even with a heater, isn't that appealing. So I would either get it to go or just not go at all. And that's the issue that a lot of these people are facing right now. Combine that with the fact that flu season's coming around the corner. And our job, the standard is that if you are showing any symptoms whatsoever, you are recommended to not come into work. So we might hit a point where upwards of a third of our staff are unable to come into work because they're showing symptoms of some illness and they don't know what it is.
Yeah, Dylan and I, we go to work at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So some days you wake up and you just got like a little phlegm in your throat, and they're like, "No, stay home.
Yep.
Just stay home."
So there's a lot of apprehension about what's coming around the corner.
Yeah, it's scary. Yeah.
Well, I want to know how long we're going to be in this. Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, or is this the new norm?
What do you say, Bill? I'd love to hear, and then I want to get the win too. But Bill, you're in the seat of power, so I've heard estimates that it could be as much as 2021, 2022. So, Bill, what's your take from your political friends? Are we looking at 2022, 2023? How long is this COVID crisis going to go on?
Well, I mean, I don't know definitively, but it's not necessarily from politicians, because I wouldn't even trust them. It actually comes from Medical Fridays here on IBM TV. And what they're talking about is that, if in fact we do get a vaccine, that the vaccine that's approved, we might be looking at January. And even then, with the production, that the distribution would start to those that in need first, the high risk, and the frontline workers, and that would get us to about July. And that the general public wouldn't be looking at it until like August, September, October of next year. But one of our doctors, Dr. Moskowitz, who is there every Friday on Medical Friday, has talked about quercetin. And it's an over-the-counter supplement that you can get. It's like an herbal supplement. And you can take that, and that and there are new studies out. You can go on the internet and look up quercetin, Quercitin, I believe. But they have a number of studies coming out showing that quercetin is one of the most effective treatments that they have so far. And as a matter of fact, IBM, the computer company, where they have Big Blue, when they were running through various scenarios of what would be the top 10 possible solutions for the COVID-19, quercetin keeps coming up. And it ends up being, it's an over-the-counter thing that people can get all by themselves. So that's coming from our medical doctors, saying on the one hand, if we're waiting for a vaccine, they're looking at first responders and the high-risk people getting the stuff first about the second quarter, May, June, July of next year, and then the rest of the population, at least in the United States, thereafter, August, September, October. So that's the best guess. And Jeff, trust me, it did not come from politicians, because I wouldn't trust them.
Yeah, I know that's right. Don't trust those politicians or anything of that nature. I know that Zach and Dylan have got to bounce off, but before they get ready to bounce off, because I want to have that Zach meet Zach moment. So I was so glad that I was able to pull that off, the Zach meet Zach moment and everything. But before they leave, I do need to know, because later on today, their show will be airing. So what can we expect from Talking Upstream later on this evening and through the rest of this year? Because like I said, I know I usually pop in and give y'all some comments as well, because y'all do such a great job with that show, and I'm glad to call y'all friends and everything. So I'd love to hear what y'all have lined up for us in the whole world of Talking Upstream, and then I'm gonna come to in as well.
Yeah, so we actually built an interview portion into our show. So starting today, moving forward, you're going to see an interview portion from a bunch of different podcasters that are really under-listened and underappreciated. So that's one thing that I'm very excited about. And that's why our show is going to move to a pre-recorded, just so we can make sure that we can interview the people that we want to interview. But today at 4:30 Eastern time, you're going to see Dylan and I. I'm going to pitch a show about being stuck in a time loop, but being there for about 25 years.
Wow.
And Dylan is going to pitch his show about smuggling of mythical creatures like a unicorn. And we're going to see who our guest chooses and which story we kind of go down. Yeah. And that's pretty much, that's how it goes.
Sounds like it's going to be an amazing show. I do have an idea, and this is me just kind of like come up with those creative ideas that I always do. I think that y'all need a funk music theme done by Zack Roberson. So I think that Zach needs to do some funk music for y'all. So I want Zach to kind of like do funk music for Zach and Dylan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we would love that. That's great.
Zach, you're muted. You're muted, Zach.
Zach.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes. I can make that happen. I'll send you my email. Send me your concept, and
I love it. And we don't like Bruno's Mars. We don't like Bruno Mars. We like funk.
Thank you. I love what he did, but people said, he's funk this and that, and it made me throw up in my mouth. They said, have you heard this new thing? Put him on the great funk artist, and he played drums at the Super Bowl, this and that. I was like,
no, that's pop music.
Made me throw up in my mouth.
That's definitely pop music.
Yeah,
we have brought Kim in. I know y'all are bouncing off, but by the way, just to let you know, she wanted to know what about the possibility of a funkster as a superhero. So she's liking the idea of having a funk superhero. So maybe that's something else we can create.
We're ready.
Well, we got Bootsy and all of them. They're already funk superheroes, but there can always be more.
Yeah.
How old is Bootsy?
Bootsy, I'm not sure his birthday. We just did the birthday bash and all this and that. But Mark, really quick, I know you had asked about how long something was going to be. Patty and Bootsy already said they're already working on virtual stuff for next Christmas. They're not even thinking about it. And I know Wynn had something to say before, but they're not even thinking about 2021 at all.
Wow. Wynn, it's your turn, so I need to hear what you've got to say. And then I know Kim had made some comments earlier in the banner, so I was going to actually bring those up. But now that she's here, she can talk about them live, which is also the conversation around some of the folks that have also been missing. But Wynn, go ahead.
I think this is a new normal, and as soon as I get a chance to get the COVID vaccine, because I'm at high risk, as you guys know. By now, you guys should know I'm at high risk for COVID. So I will be, again, I keep teasing people, I will be lined up at my doctor's office with my carry-on and suitcase behind me, because I am so ready to jump on a plane, but I am patiently waiting for the go-ahead. But at the same time, I think this is the new normal. Social distancing is the new normal. I am thinking that my graduation, and I agree with Zack Roberson, I'm thinking my graduation will be virtual. I know the last one from Ashford University was virtual. And I'm also thinking that Biden won't mock a reporter with cerebral palsy, because that's what Donald Trump did, and that's why I don't like Donald Trump, because he mocked a reporter before he went into office with cerebral palsy. So me and Mr. Trump are not best friends because he not only doesn't support women, he mocks people with disabilities, which is not cool. And so I believe that this is a new normal, but I am patiently waiting for the COVID vaccine. And I am not kidding when I say I will be there with my carry-on and my suitcase behind me. And I want to see where this vaccine takes me, literally and figuratively, once I get it. And then I also think this is a new normal. I think we're sitting in the new normal. I think that event that I was planning on going to, the only event that I was planning on going to in 2021, I need to check with those guys to see if they are still having it. But I'm thinking that those guys are turning it virtual because they were smart enough to have it a week before the pandemic, and I was able to travel to said event the week before the pandemic. But I also think this is a new normal, and I also think masked up is a new normal. And I am not the biggest fan of Donald Trump, just like Zach, and that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm not the biggest fan either.
I got a photo of what Wynn is talking about when he mocked the journalist. And I think that was the day I decided there was no way I would ever vote for a man who would ever do that. You would have thought that would have been the end of his campaign. But what that showed me.
Exactly.
Well, what that showed me is the type of people who would elect a man like that. I kind of would, take note of who they were and stay away from them. But one of the things I like about Biden is he himself has a disability. It is a speech impediment. And, he never let that stop him, right? He does have an issue, I think, sometimes controlling it, but, that's hard to do. But there's nothing wrong with having these disabilities and becoming a leader of your country, because I think it makes you more sympathetic to people who have problems, right? You'll be a little more considerate and understanding. And I think that's why we need a president like that right now, somebody who's going to be a little more considerate and understanding to the human natures and get us back together and unite us.
They call that being presidential.
Exactly. It's about being presidential.
Jeff.
And one of the things I was going to add just really quickly, because you had mentioned it in the comments offline before coming out, but I would love if you wanted to talk about what he did with the funding for domestic violence victims and all of what he did about some of the gun carrying restrictions as well. So I know that is an issue of passion of yours, Kim. So I'd love to hear you talk about that as well.
Oh, Lordy. I mean, it just irritates me so bad. People say, well, it's Biden's fault for not, getting this law pushed better over the years. He started this law in 1990, and he's the only one who has pushed it, gotten it signed and approved and modified, because, laws sometimes have to be modified with change. And somebody set a precedence a couple of years ago with the domestic violence law, which happens a lot. I've been in the courtroom watching precedents get set and ruin everything for victims. And one of the precedents that got set is that offenders can now carry guns. Restraining order, and the offender can carry a gun. I have an issue with this because the courts know that within 48 hours that the offender is usually going to violate that order. And the first thing they're going to do, because they're just it's like throwing gas on a fire when you give them that restraining order, they're going to go get a gun and they're going to take care of business. And I've seen this happen in real life. Like, I have a friend that happened to. So I couldn't understand why the president didn't want to sign the bill to say we need to fix this precedent and make it so that these particular kind of offenders are not allowed to carry guns. And it's just a segregation of a group of offenders. Okay. I'm just going to say that. And the other problem is that he didn't fund the domestic violence programs. He just felt like it just didn't need any funding, that we can take care of it ourselves. Actually, I heard from someone, and I actually heard it from an investor who's like Trump, that, just buy the victims a gun. I was like, that's the way we settle it, right? You're going to let certain kind of offenders have guns, and you're going to promote victims to go out and buy guns, and we're just going to have a shootout, But so that's the type of mindset that we have in leadership right now, and that doesn't build bridges, that doesn't unite, that doesn't build calmness, that just builds more fear. It ignites more fuel on anger, and we need a president who will also be more compassionate. Many victims of domestic violence are disabled people, believe it or not. They also have PTSD, which is a disability. So he has no sympathy for disabled people. He really doesn't. I don't know if you guys know this, but we all, I think Roosevelt was disabled, and I learned from his story. He would, so people wouldn't see his hand shaking, he would put his arm behind his back. Mm-hmm. So that you wouldn't be uncomfortable when his arm started to have tremors. My arm has tremors sometimes, and I learned from his story. So when I would go to meetings, I would do the same thing. I would teach myself. But these are the kind of leaders we need, leaders who have empathy for humanity. What do you feel about that, Bill? Because you always get so quiet on me when I get on my soapbox, and I feel like, oh, Lord.
I'm just listening. I think you're absolutely right across the board. What part do you want me to say yes to? Because you're right everywhere.
Well,
speaking of being right, and she is right about a number of these issues and everything, but I would like to hear Bill's thoughts about something else that you brought up as well. And I know y'all have been talking about it on The Lawyers Den, one of our very popular shows here. And then I've actually got to thank Kim about a connection that she made for me with Scarlett, because I went to an event this weekend that was amazing, but I'll talk about that shortly. But where are we at with the Supreme Court and all of that? Because I know that is coming up, and I guess we're going to have this judge push through, but I know y'all have been talking about it in The Lawyers Den, so I would love to hear where we are and if it's going to happen before the election on not this coming Tuesday, but next Tuesday. So I want to know where we have this new judge or not, and how this is playing out.
Oh, absolutely. After they closed the hearing the week before last, they then turned around and they took up her recommendation from the committee, the Senate committee, the full Senate, and they did that on I believe Wednesday. They moved it up, and by a 12-zip vote, because all the Democrats boycotted it. Instead, they just put up pictures of all the people who are going to be hurt by healthcare. The Republicans voted 12 yes, and no Democrats dissented. It went to the full floor. So Mitch McConnell is bringing it up on, I believe, Tuesday to the full Senate floor, where she's going to be confirmed, so that they can then have her sworn in to the Supreme Court by Friday.
So we should have her in the Supreme Court by Friday. For everybody on the panel, what is your thoughts about what kind of impact this is going to have? I know you talked about the new makeup of the Supreme Court. I know she's talked about being, and y'all have had conversations about it, about being, I think the term is an originalist, but I was wondering what your feel is as to where the Supreme Court is going and everything. And I'll open this to the whole floor, but we'll start with Bill, since he is part of the Lawyers Den.
Oh, okay. Well, I can tell you that the Supreme Court will then have a solid 5-4, a 5-3 conservative majority. The question is what's going to happen with Chief Justice Roberts. In the past, he has switched sides and voted with the liberals. But that was predominantly in 5-4 decisions, so he was able to stop laws that the conservatives from moving too fast. But there's not going to be anything stopping the conservatives now, because they'll have a solid 5-vote majority. And we're likely to see the Supreme Court take up a number of things. And these are the things. A week after the election, so essentially the new justice will be on the job for about 10 days, and then you're going to have your first major challenge to Obamacare hit the courts. So we vote on the Tuesday, and then the following Tuesday, the Supreme Court hears Obamacare. There are a number of significant business cases. There's Oracle versus Google, Business Matters, and about copyright and things of that nature that are coming up. There are religious freedom cases that are coming up. But the most striking thing that I think that people should begin to ask themselves is that under the guise of religious freedom, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, joined by Samuel Alito, both conservatives, have said that they wanted to re-examine the issues surrounding privacy rights. And that goes directly to the issue of same-sex marriages. It goes to Roe v. Wade. It goes to any number of issues. And so you could see either a dramatic whittling down of the previous rights that the cases have established, or you could see an outright removal of those rights. And that's the really scary thing, because once you start down that path, we're not going to be able to do anything about it unless, of course, the Democrats are looking to expand the number of seats on the Supreme Court, which is also a hotly contested matter. And for the Democrats' part, and I'll just be more brief, a primer for our audience, and that is this, that Biden has said that he's going to put together a bipartisan commission that will study the issue for 6 months. But essentially that means to collect everything that everybody's already been talking about for decades. And then he said that he was going to be moderated or informed by how the Democrats or how the Republicans handle the situation. But the real indication is what kind of decisions we're going to be getting from the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court takes a hard right turn, you can expect to see a fight with President Biden, if he's elected, looking to pack the court.
Well,
that's going to be a conflict, and that's just going to hinder some changes. This is what I tell people, because everybody goes, "Oh, she's a Christian." Well, we all know that the Salem witches trials were managed by Christian judges. So, I don't trust a judge because of the Christian. I actually sometimes don't trust them because they are. So it doesn't matter to me. I mean, religion should not be on the table. It should not have anything to do. Nobody's religious agenda should have anything to do with any of the precedents that we set in law. I mean, I think you guys kind of talked about this.
Well, there's supposed to be separation of church and state, but
here where we are now with this lady, and thanks, Kim. Good to see you.
Same here as that.
yeah, no doubt. Looking at the Roe versus Wade, obviously my youngest daughter identifies herself as a lesbian. I got 2 girls. So right there, if it's going to be up to the states to determine some of these things, if we can kind of, and Bill, you may correct me if I'm wrong, if we can kind of back channel some more down the middle local judges in our local election, in our local places, do you think some of the states will be like, okay, if it has to go to Supreme Court, so be it, but I'm going to do my best to try to not let it get to the Supreme Court? Do you think that would be a way to circumvent? Because this lady is surely batshit crazy. Okay, so we all know that. I'm going to just put it out there. Yo, she is. She went to Notre Dame. But let me tell you something. This woman is, and there's no offense against women. They're brilliant women all over the world. But this woman clearly is not really getting the bigger picture of what the United States is made up of. Immigrants, people coming from other countries, poor people, gay people, LGBTQ communities. So if she's not really seeing that right off the top, couldn't local governments say, hey, we're not down with you, so we're going to make sure we keep some things to ourselves and it doesn't get to you? Is that possible?
Okay, well, actually, sorry, go ahead, Jeff, because I can tell things real quickly, but Jeff, I'd rather hear from you. Jeff?
All I know is that 33 states legalized marijuana, and I still have lifers in jail for a federal stupid law that's out of order. And from the beginning, nobody should be in jail for a Schedule 1 plant that is next to heroin, and cocaine is a Schedule 2 plant. So by letting the states deal with Roe versus Wade is one thing, but we're going to do a precedence around the world when this human comes in, and I think they're rushing it, and I don't know what the rules are about due process. Okay, so it's just a cartoon. This whole party that we're having this whole event that we're having is a bad cartoon, and it is about time that we slow it down, that we think about what we're going to do, and that we even change the rules on somebody being on the court for life. Because if it's out of balance for life, then we're all in trouble. And it doesn't mean we have to move to Canada or to Mexico. I mean, all those things are in my family. My father lived in Mexico for 30 years because he could do his architecture in a different way down there and get through, all the red tape. But if we don't teach the children how to act in the playground, in the sandbox, then we're in really big trouble. And so, all of us say, well, Donald was elected and it's only 4 years. We had 8 years of JB, of the Bush administration. And what, not conspiracy, that I love, but they didn't find an airplane in the Pentagon. And all these things that are black and white to certain people. When is the truth going to be slowed down to bring the love, the generation of love back from the 60s that allows us to be transparent, allows us to have equal people on the court? I mean, if they get more people on the Supreme Court, okay, but still, it's a dumb thing, the Electoral College. It's a dumb thing that they won, that one party wins and then takes away the rights of a human to choose what they do with their body or who they marry.
Okay, well, Jeff, listen, on that tail piece, and it circles right back to what Zack was asking. And essentially what would happen is this, is that if the Supreme Court, they cannot outlaw abortion. They would simply be in a position of saying that Roe versus Wade, that abortion is not a protected right as they construe it, under the Constitution. Now, what has been happening, though, and so they would say this is not a matter unless the federal government passes a law and then makes it a federal law. That would be one thing they'd say. But in the absence of that, the federal government passing a law, then it's up to the states to figure out. Now, in answer to your question, and Jeff also tangentially answering yours, there have been a number of states that have already passed state-level laws securing the right to an abortion and the right to privacy, notwithstanding Roe versus Wade, because obviously this fight has been going on. But then there have been a number of other states that have been hostile to it. And so essentially what would end up happening is that the removal of Roe versus Wade, it's not just that it's Roe versus Wade, it's this notion that we have a right to privacy that's guaranteed in the Constitution. Because that right to privacy protects same-sex marriages, it protects your own relationships, it'll protect your daughter's relationships as she grows up, it protects
That's a beautiful thing.
I know, Jeff. I know, but I'm just saying. So it's really the right to privacy, and whether or not that's in the Constitution, and that's what you may have heard originalists and stuff. However, what you'll end up seeing is this: is that if the Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade and attacks this right to privacy, it'll devolve back down to the states, and then what you'll have a patchwork, because it'll be different in Indiana than it is in New York.
Yeah.
In Alabama than it is in Wisconsin, and that will be difficult. And so that'll be back to what they were talking about in the 70s when all of this stuff started, because in some of those states where those women that are underprivileged and can't get across lines, you're going to be a very real possibility of backroom abortions and all the horrors that stuff entails, and women dying because of botched abortions and all this kind of quackery going on. And it would just be a tragedy, all based on economic influence, because the poor people will be hit disproportionately. But you'd have this patchwork. And then the fights would really start all over again.
Let me just add something really fast, because I know HIPAA is a federal thing, right? Uh-huh. So if the woman has a procedure done, be whatever, right? Wouldn't her constitutional rights as a woman to privacy be protected under a HIPAA medical procedure? Under HIPAA?
Yeah, that's a protection, a right to privacy protection from it being disclosed. It's not a privacy right that says that you can get it done. See, Roe versus Wade says you have a right to privacy in your own body. And that right to privacy allows you to make decisions about your own body.
But that's what I mean. Like, because it's your own decision and it's a privacy issue, HIPAA protects medical privacy issues.
No, but you're looking at it the other way around. That is to say, the right to privacy, that's the Constitution, Roe versus Wade, flows down. HIPAA comes in and says, yes, you have this right to privacy, so therefore you don't have to disclose what medical procedures you've had. But if they take away a federal right, the Roe versus Wade that says you have a right to privacy, all HIPAA will do is just say that nobody else outside of you, unless you disclose it, can know what was done to you. But it doesn't say that you have a right. HIPAA does not say that you have a right to medical care and or choose an abortion.
No, well, the absurdity of changing that one law, is like, I get an abortion and it's made public and somebody comes, knocks on my door and takes me to jail.
So here's where it's going to do. It's going to take us back to, 100 years where girls felt like they had no other choice. And so they would go to a back room. What this law does is it's going to make it illegal for doctors to do the procedure. Okay. And Bill might correct me on this.
You're right.
What's going to happen is it's just history has told us everything, but the Republicans are so narrow-minded, Christian stupid that they forget these things. And I tell my friends who are just so diehard, I don't believe it should be used as a means of birth control, right? But if you need it, you need it. If you don't have any other out or any other way, then that's your choice.
There's rape.
Right. Well, there's rape. There's other things. There's all kinds of other things. You can go home and your family disown you. You have no idea what it's like to be raised in a Christian family and get pregnant. You really don't. It's all your fault. It's not the guy gets all this fame. Hey, way to go, dude. But the girl carries a lot of shame. And
I'll tell you. Oh, go ahead, Kim.
No,
I'm glad you brought. I was going to add to what you said. I'll tell you a quick story. In my first marriage, right? Before I married Jennifer and I had my daughters, I was married for a year and a half, and we were trying to have a baby. And the baby was at the 6-month mark and was stillborn and was not alive. So my ex was carrying the baby in her womb. And we had to go, and this is the most painful thing, one of the most painful things I ever had to go through. We had to go and almost carry the baby to term before we could get the baby out and have, a ceremony and all of this stuff. And I just remember the agony on my then ex-wife's face at the time of every day walking around with a child that was dead and the tears and the pain. And I never told this story on there. Nobody knows this, that we went through. And I thought to myself, because it was past the point of the abortion. This was in the early 80s and things were a little still sketchy in New York. But the doctor said, listen, in order to protect my then wife, we have to be careful. And we need to do like some type of, we had to schedule this natural delivery of a fetus that was sequentially a baby that was dead. You know what I mean? And I just think to myself, like Kim mentioned, it's so important. This is why I wish women would run the country, because there's nothing more important than a woman in this world. And I mean that wholeheartedly, Kim, when it comes to life. So how can you as a man, tell the givers of life what to do? And that's my pet peeve with some of these people that are so diehard red or Trump or whatever, because it just doesn't seem any spiritual person, no matter what religion, would want to put their emotion into a woman's body and tell her what she can and can't do. And I just wanted to share that because, and I never told this story, nobody knows this but you guys and whoever's watching. I just wanted to say that's painful.
No, I agree with you and everything. And one thing I was going to add to that, and I want to hear from Kim and everything, her reaction. But I agree. And part of what happens is we're in a very patriarchal society and things of that nature. And that's what we've got to get away from, this patriarchal kind of society that we live in and everything. Actually, earlier, Jeff mentioned about weed and all those states that have passed laws that were allowing weed to be sold or put into those different states and everything. I would argue the same thing about, and I would love to hear Bill's take on this, about the ERA, because I remember the ERA was also passed by several states, and I was a big proponent of the ERA and thought that it should have been passed. But I want to say that it was passed by quite a few states as well. So I'd love to hear from both Bill and Kimberly about that. But definitely, I just remember that fight, and I remember it being a major fight, and I thought it should have been passed ages ago. I mean, I know we got, I think it's Title IX out of that ERA fight, but in terms of like true appreciation, and as Kim knows, and as many folks know, I have a lot of very strong women in my life. Like I said, my mom is definitely one. My aunts are definitely in that category. So I have a lot of strong women in my life, including some that are friends of mine, like our mayor pro tem here and a number of others. So I am definitely, like Zack, a big proponent of women's rights, and think that I don't get how we cannot support the women of the world. But definitely, I just remember that ERA struggle from years ago and thought that we should have done past that ages ago. And I don't remember how many states it would pass, but I know it was.
Can I say one word?
Yep.
Transgender.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's a choice.
Which are being attacked now all around the world, by the way, which I don't understand that either. You know, transgenders are being attacked at alarming numbers. I was watching our fellow co-host, Alexandra May, and we had that show, and we were talking about that. And I, again, as a woman, I know nothing about what women go through. I just know I wish you guys could run the world. I'm not one of those men that say you can't, because I think you can, because your mothers, your nature nurturers, you guys are the givers of life. How could any man tell you what to do and when to do it? I don't get it.
I just think these laws should be left in the hands of women and not women judges, because they kind of scare me. And I don't think it should be left in the hands of any Christian or religion. I think that it should be a woman's choice, and that's where the Constitution should just leave it alone. And what all this does, again, is it changes the rules, and the girls are going to have to go to butcher shops like they did back in the 50s. They're going to die. You're going to have a lot of bad situations happen because they don't have an affordable means. Because all this does is it removes your opportunity to do this through interest. And I want to bring something up about HIPAA, because you guys were really on this. A lot of people don't pay attention to this, but if I go get something done and I'm on my husband's insurance, right? But I don't want him to know what I'm getting done, right? Maybe I just want to be quiet about it, even though I'm an open person. Okay, but just say I didn't, right? Or my child who's 18 was going to college and he was getting something done. They still send the whole bill to the owner of, how you have separate accounts. Mm-hmm. They still send the whole bill, whether you want them to or not, to the owner of the account. So the owner of the account is going to know every procedure, and they put every procedure you have. They spell out every procedure you have. There is no privacy. This is what I tell people. There's absolutely no privacy. So again, just get over it. I was dumbfounded when I would get, because I didn't want to know when my son went away to university. I didn't want to find those things out that way. I would rather want to find out with him calling me, right? But he should have had a right to privacy, and he didn't. And that was disturbing to me. I think it was disturbing to me too, because my bill doesn't come just to me; it comes to everyone. So I just, I want to say HIPAA doesn't protect us like we think. And think about this: we're standing 6 feet away from the person yelling at them now, our phone number, our address. And I just realized the whole lobby could hear me, because she'll go, well, what's your phone number? What's your address? Right. And you can't, I can't hand her my driver's license like I used to. So, I mean.
I thought about the same thing.
My one take on it is the word agenda. And I have a problem because I am a reformer for nonviolent humans being in jail for nonviolence. And so the agenda word, how can one person, let alone the Electoral College, but one person make that decision or be the person that swings everything for life? I mean, it's so antiquated. It's so antiquated marijuana should not be a Schedule I drug. It should be free, and we should make paper, fiber, fuel, medicine, and food with it. The bottom line is it's a taxable, way to complete the taxing and make money. Bottom line is that the agenda of one person coming into the Supreme Court rushed into the Supreme Court so they can get their agenda is so 1984.
It's not even 1984. I would argue it's even way back to like the 17th century. Because one of the things I was going to add that I would like to see is greater representation. Like I said, I don't care if it's the Supreme Court, the House. I know that when AOC and a number of others were elected, they talked about that was a wave of better representation in the House. And I agree with that. But I think that we need to find a way that all of our different kinds of folks are represented. So I think that that's one of the things that happens within our system is that the way it's situated now, it is still dominated by one major group. And I'm just going to put the elephant in the room out there. It's dominated by white males and things of that nature. So we have to get away from that and get true representation. And I don't know how we create that.
Even the title, Supreme Court.
Supremacist. I do want to add that, we need to take some of these things into consideration of how we can protect ourselves. But a lot of people were fooled by our Governor McCrory when he pushed that bill, the potty bill. I called it the potty bill, right? The bill that said that people of gender choice couldn't go into the bathroom. But did anyone read the full bill? So in the bill, he crammed, he got everybody all riled up about this one title about, I want to protect the women and the children. Okay, so first off, there was no enforcement in there, so it was kind of stupid. But, and by the way, I've been in bathrooms with men, like where the dressing room is men and then your stalls are for men and women. I'm okay with it if they're not okay with me putting on my makeup. So, touching up actually they touch up, right?
You live at home with your husband and there's a bathroom there.
I'm okay with it, right? I thought I was going to be weirded out, but I was there. But let me tell you what was in that bill. A lot of people don't know. It was very prejudiced if you've read it and if you know what I'm talking about, but it capped out minimum wage. So what does that do to you guys? It capped it out to like $7.50 or something stupid like that. But it capped it out so that hurts the people that are in the poverty sector, okay? Mm-hmm. And it allowed the employers, see, a lot of people didn't read this bill. It allowed the employers to be able to fire people of gender choice. Mm. It was put in there. All of these little things, I don't know what you call it, fat, or I don't know, Bill, what do you call it? But they put all of these things in there.
No, go ahead. You can call them amendments, you can call them riders, but they're special interest things. But no matter what you call it, Kim, it's just wrong. But go ahead, that was your point. I'm listening.
No, but what hurt is the minute it got passed, I knew people of gender choices that were getting fired because they were gender choice. The minute it passed. And this was our governor who campaigned on being equal rights for women and equal rights for gays, and he screwed us.
The sad part with what we're talking about, and people around the world are checking us out here, and we're just chilling. We're all from different walks of life, nationalities, but we all agree on some basic fundamental things: human decency and love for one another. And that's what it is. These people I need that hug today, Kim. It's raining over here. My shoulder's killing me. Oh. We as human beings, man, we gotta elevate, because as activists, which everybody on this panel is, how in the world can I not understand what another human being is trapped in another body, and they're already feeling bad, so I gotta make them feel worse. That's not a thought process that no normal person should have. And the higher up we go, some of these laws that you guys are talking about, unless you're dealing with it, you don't really know. Like in New York, we seen transgender people using different bathrooms, this and that all the time. But then you go to different places in the country, right? And people we lost the NCAA, the college tournament and all of that stuff a couple of years ago down here because of that. That was the dumbest thing. Because I said, when you go to a fair, it's the same thing. You all use those little porta potties. It's the same thing. I couldn't figure that out. Like, where was the logic? I don't
Well,
know.
I mean,
There was no logic.
there was no logic at all, unfortunately, and like I said, no logic whatsoever. And
Number
one thing
nine.
yeah,
My God, number
it
nine.
got to number 9. One thing I was going to add to that is there's definitely no logic. And one of the things that I've really been hating is I've been watching either on the computer or on TV or radio, and I'm really getting tired, and Bill may want to talk about this, about the negative ads. And I don't care what people think about what a person made in terms of a choice, in terms of what they did in their life. But our Senate race here in North Carolina has been getting very nasty, and these ads have been very personal attacks and very nasty. And I have been getting sick watching them and everything, particularly on one side, which is the right side and everything, meaning the side of the Republicans. But it has gotten very nasty, and they are making some very personal attacks. And I think that is between and I'll just go ahead and name the gentleman's name. I think that's between Cal Cunningham and his wife. I don't think that we need to be jumping in it at all.
Well, no, I mean, that's fine, and all that's great, except a couple of things are true. We never take the chance to pass a good car accident. That's one. Two. Hang on. This has been part of, the political system. I'm going all the way back to Thomas Jefferson when there was like, he had a girl on the side, So, I mean, Mark, you can sit, and then here's the final thing, okay? Negative ads work. Because if they didn't work, I'm telling you, and I'm now reformed, but I was in that political world. If they didn't work, I wouldn't use it. But if I come to you and I say, hey, listen, you shouldn't vote for that guy, and you're like, why? And I say, well, do you like your dog? And you're like, yeah, I love my dog. Well, he shot your dog. And you're like, no, I don't believe you. Here's a picture of him shooting your dog. You're like, I hate that guy. I'm like, great. And so I'm going to come to you and I'm going to say, here's a picture of you of that guy shooting your dog for me. It works. And so I get it, man. And everybody gets upset about it until, and you know what's an interesting thing about this? It happens until this, that when, say the swing state is another state in the United States. This year it's North Carolina and some other states, okay? That next time around 4 years from now, it may be something else. Everybody in North Carolina is going to feel like they've been neglected because nobody cares. And they're going to be like, how come we're not getting the attention? How come the candidates aren't flying to us? How come we're not seeing the negative ads? So on the one hand, you're like, oh, I hate it. It's ridiculous. And this is what happens every 4 years. In Iowa and New Hampshire, they get all mad and they're like, you can't buy my vote. I have a right not to say anything and blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, then don't hold your primary first and we won't care about you. But they're like, no, we have to hold our primaries and our caucuses first. And so everybody comes in and they bring what they bring. And then everybody gets upset and then they claim, but they don't get mad about all the money and the jobs that it's creating, the millions and millions and millions of dollars that are going to the TV stations and the hotels and the taxes that are. I mean, so Mark, don't mind me. I love you. You're my favorite one of North Carolina people. But please spare me the fake tears about my feelings are hurt because
Well, like I said, I want to hear what Kim got to say. I want to hear what Kim's got to say, but I
don't even know what happened. So somebody please explain to me because I don't know. It wasn't on IBM, so I didn't see it.
Well, I'll give you the short version. I'll give you the short version. Recently, a computer was turned over, I believe, if I remember the whole story and everything, that was from, or they found his email trail and everything. And Cal Cunningham, who is our Democratic senator candidate against Tom Tillis, was running, and they found these affair kind of letters that have since blown up into what they now believe was a full affair and things of that nature. And because of that, and I've never even got it confirmed, the full affair part. I do know that as soon as it was released and it came out, he did go public. That is the one thing I would give him credit for. Sometimes folks get a little bit too quick to try to hide things and things of that nature. So he did go public, say that he apologized.
He had no choice.
Right, that's true.
I want to change the subject a little bit because I got a question for Bill because I know some people are going to have to leave here real soon. Because I've been on fracking rigs, okay? I've done a lot of research on fracking, and I personally know for a fact that, we only give a few hundred people low-paying, very dangerous jobs, and the only time that their family gets any money is if they die, and on the rig. And the only people who make money are the one or two owners of the rigs. Very dangerous. Why is there such a big issue about keeping the fracking industry alive when there's alternative energy and safer?
Okay, well,
why? I don't understand.
Okay, a couple of quick things, and that is this, that First of all, you have to understand what fracking is.
I do.
Okay. Well, I mean, for our audience, they stick essentially a straw down into the rocks underneath the earth. And then they pump a whole bunch of water down in there, plus some
trash water. It's junk water.
Well, it's junk water, but then the other things, well, just a whole bunch of stuff. So the environmentalists
nasty chemicals.
Hang on. The environmentalists were mad because they're just mad to begin with because of this other stuff going around. What it does is the pressure alone breaks the rocks, releasing pockets of natural gas that they then grab and they put in a tank. So natural gas is on the rise. And natural gas has allowed us, because a lot of people are switching over to natural gas because it's a cleaner burning fuel than coal, and it reduces our dependence on foreign oil from the Middle East and stuff like that. So what's been going on is that in areas, so like regular oil is down there in Texas and the Southwest and all over the place, out in the Gulf and everything else, but Middle America doesn't have oil. What they do have is they have a lot of rocks that have a lot of natural gas contained in them. Natural gas that they can get into by using this fracking method. And so by using the fracking method, they in fact have a gas industry. And that gas industry is putting a bunch of people who live in these places like South Dakota, middle parts of Pennsylvania, North Dakota, Wyoming. They're putting a lot of people to work who would not otherwise be working. And you're right. Yes, it is very dangerous because of the pressure that's going down. The rigs can blow up. But, what the companies are doing, they are buying vast swaths of land, and then they are concentrating their rigs. And so they are taking out all the money, and they're buying insurance to cover any accident potentials that happen on the site. But in the meantime, these men and women that are working the site don't necessarily have access to any of these high-paying jobs. And these jobs in their communities are like $50,000, $60,000, sometimes $80,000. Now, they work outrageous hours, and the conditions are horrific, but that's a substantial job to them. So, on the one hand, you've got these states that say, hey, listen, we have access to an oil or to a gas industry, one that we would not have without this procedure of forcing high-pressured lubricants into the ground to open up natural gas. And then you've got all these people with these jobs, and so these local economies are suddenly booming. They're like boomtowns in the old days. And then you have environmentalists saying it's bad for the environment. So the environmentalists want to stop fracking, and the people that are pro-fracking are saying, hey, listen, that would cost jobs, and so there's a real mess that's to fight over it. And at the end of the day, Kim, you're absolutely right. It's only the big-time producers that are making all the money and running away.
The job argument. I have a question. The job argument.
You left out one thing, though. You left out one thing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jeff. But you left out one thing. I want to make sure I add it. But go ahead.
The job argument is so weak. I can't believe it. We have. I live in a 10,000 person town that's very tiny in Washington State, Mark, and I'm from California, but and my heart's there. But the bottom line is that we have a mill here. It stinks to high hell. We have the largest cancer rate in the union in our state here, and the overwater flow mill water cooling tank is where all the particulates go. And we've studied that for 20 years since I've lived here, and no one has been able to shut them down. In all the towns that have shut down small mills, paper mills, their argument was that it houses 300 workers. Okay. So I invited Tesla here to come build cars there and not fire anybody and buy out the mill and their space and their property and do a lateral shift, for that. So that's a horrible argument, just as well as the antiquated laws that are keeping the electoral college vote. It's antiquated because when I was a kid and 100 people voted in high school for my brother that won, 60 people voted for him, 40 people didn't. So he was elected president of the class. And so why should we be stuck with antiquated thinking? It should be evolved,
Well, we should be able to vote for policies, and thank you very much. I do want to add one particular thing a lot of people do not understand about fracking. And again, I spent a lot of time on the rigs researching them, okay? I did a lot of work with them. And one of the things that they do, and you are so dead on, you describe it better than anyone I know about how they but what a lot of people don't know is that you can start on your part of the land, and you go under, and you can go in any direction you want under somebody else's property.
That's exactly right.
You can now mine for other people's, off of other people's property. You can mine for your money. So these big time multimillionaires like Trump, who is probably invested in the oil industry, that's probably where he gets a lot of his money. They are, to me, that is stealing from somebody else's property, but they have laws about how far down your property goes. Just because it's this on the ground, doesn't mean you own it down. So they can go down and they can go out to all of these different places. Now, what happens is when they frack under your property, if they hit one of those pockets that hits a pressure, it could blow your house up. It could blow into your pipes. It could blow into various different things. We have seen, they go, oh, that doesn't happen. It does. Okay. I'm just telling you. I know people don't believe me, but I've been there. And I've also been there. I tell people, if you don't believe me, go visit them for a shift change and sit in a prayer. Every person of every race, every religion, and every culture, the shift supervisor will say, I'm getting ready to say a prayer. It's non-religious, but you can leave if you wish. No one leaves.
Well,
you won't leave with a dry eye.
There's a tanker in the ocean right now that's sinking, and they say it's going to be larger than the Valdez. And so when are we going to get smart on the planet and wean ourselves from peak oil? If we wean ourselves from peak oil and we use wind and we use solar and we use ocean tides to make electricity.
The tide has enough energy.
We use ocean tides. I mean, you are talking, us people that are in this circle right now, the four of us, or the five of us, we're articulate, we're educated. And the people that aren't are the ones that are working on those rigs. And they get paid on how dangerous their job is. When my friend worked in a multi-story crane, the higher it went, the more he got paid, But Buckminster Fuller said we're going to run out in 1930. He said less is more. And so we need to know how to do hydroponics. We need to know how to do wind and solar. Like Germany, you can't build a house without solar.
If we watched Disney, we probably would all be living the house of the future. But I will say this on the rigs, they still use the old-fashioned way of testing whether there's a gas leak. They send a crew up to the top, okay, not a canary, all right? It's inhumane to send a canary. And if a man drops, the other two run. Because if you breathe in that type of gas, just a half breathe in, you're dead instantly. So, so that's how bad it is.
Thank you for explaining that.
Humans. The aliens are watching us. The Palladians are going, humans, you are so dumb.
Totally. And thank you for explaining, because I had no idea the whole fracking process. So, Bill, Kim, thank you, because a lot of us, like you said, you just don't know.
I said education. We need to have shows like this so we can educate and expose. We can be transparent.
Well,
yeah, we do.
That's what an open forum is about, right? The open forum is about talking honestly about what these things are. That a lot of people they I call it drinking the red Kool-Aid, right? They just want to hear what they want to hear. They don't care about the real knowledge of things.
Well, I think that's
the real Bill. They don't.
I think that's a little bit dangerous when you say they and the red Kool-Aid. We have to back off a little bit because we are all one. Bob Marley will say one. And if we say blue versus red, we're not allowing us to marry and to become compassion.
True, you're right.
Bill?
No.
But we knew what you meant, Kim. I knew what you meant.
Yeah. But
I just had this one piece. I wasn't worried too much about the red. I was more worried about red until I realized that I'm wearing red and I got a red.
Well, you are a Buffalo fan. You're not drinking the color. You are a Buffalo.
Your bull has some blue on it. You got some blue bull. You got a bunch of blue bull.
Yeah, that's a little bit red, but he's doing that Buffalo Bill thing, so we're going to loosen up things. I did want to mention something really quickly. I had said that I was going to mention that earlier, and I do want to thank Kim through the IBM family, IBM TV family, for introducing me to Scarlett, because like I said, we were talking on LinkedIn, and she did then invited me to attend a meetup around virtual reality. So while Zack was having his Friday with the Funk family, I actually had the pleasure of getting a lot of folks around the virtual community and things of that nature. So it was really great going to that event, meeting a lot of the folks that are in the virtual reality kind of realm. And I would have never known them if not for IBM TV and meeting Scarlett through Kim, because I do know that she is a friend of Kim's as well. So definitely, I just wanted to thank you for that, because like I said, I met a whole lot of folks that I understand are having conversations about doing stuff here, because I met, I think his name is Praveen, and Scarlett, of course, invited me, and there was a number of other folks, but they mentioned that we are looking at doing a virtual thing. And I also know we're doing other events. Of course, we did the Peace Day. We helped Jeff with his thing on the wildfires. And I understand we have an event tomorrow. And I just want to let folks know that if they've got an event and they would like to have the event aired, to get in touch with Kim or Ankit. So get in touch with or Bill, any of the folks here, because that is how we can get these events on. So I think the new email is kim@ibmtv.tv. So definitely, I would definitely put that in there and everything. See, I did my research. I found out. See, Kim was amazed that I got the right one and everything. So it's kim@ibmtv.tv or bill@ibmtv.tv. or nick@ibmtv.tv as well. So definitely any of us that can be reached. You can also reach me at bluesradio@gmail. So all of them can be reached, or a number of other folks. So if you got an event, then let us know, and we'll try to have it here on this platform. But tell us about what we've got going on tomorrow with the fine folks in Switzerland, I believe it is. So we've got a big event going on.
It's a venture capital summit. I don't have access to the intro. I wish I did. But it is for venture capital. So being in early in the morning, it starts very, very early in the morning. I would say if you were up at 5 a.m., you'll probably be able to catch some of it. But it's about venture capital. It's for 3 days. But it's in Switzerland. That's why it's so early in the morning here. We've got it posted on our website. But if you're interested in learning more about venture capital, these guys really know how to do it. Like, they understand that you just don't give somebody $150,000 and say, here, cut corners and make it work. They actually do a scalable business model in investing in a business. So they look at, wow, what's it cost to run a business? Oh, it's really going to cost you $1 million because you got to eat too. So they make you successful by looking at the business plan and investing in the business. So highly recommend if you get an opportunity. If not, we post air, right? And I just think that it's going to be worth watching. I really do wish I had an ad. I should have thought to bring one. While you're, talking, I'll see if I can get one up so people can watch it. But definitely try to, if not again, watch it post. There's going to be investors from all over the world. I think, Bill, you know a lot about this too, right?
Yeah, sure. And I've got a few minutes before I have to go. Essentially, it's the strategic impact investment program. And what they look to do is that, when you think of like traditional venture capitalists or investment groups, let's say you're a startup or you're a company that's got a great idea and you need some funding. You go, and normally these investors come in, like on Shark Tank or stuff, and they say, okay, well, what's my ROI, which is just initials for return on investment. And so let's say, Zach, you're the guy that needs some money and I'm the guy that has the money. And so you come to me and I give you a hard time. I say, okay, well, listen, I see you got this new doodad and it's a great widget and blah, blah, blah. Fine. I'll give you $10,000 if you give me 80% of your company. Right. And you're like, on the one hand, you're torn between, hey, listen, 80% of my company, I came up with the idea. What's Bill doing? He's just trying to buy his way in and steal all my stuff if it's a good idea. And so that's why they call them vulture capitalists, because they come in because they have the capital and they're vultures and they're going to try to steal your stuff. And so then you get into this fight where you've got to negotiate with them what percentage you're going to sell, what kind of return they're going to get on their money. And that gets a little dicey. Now, what this symposium does is it connects you with a bunch of people that don't come in with that traditional view of return on investment in terms of dollars. They come in because they're motivated. Yeah, they want to see some return on their dollars, but they're also motivated by other things like, what's the impact going to be in terms of the world? Are you cleaning up the environment? Are you doing good, essentially? I mean, is it like for a worthy cause? Are you educating the illiterate? Are you helping to eradicate poverty? And what they base it on is they base it on a number of these types of socially significant milestones that we all, would agree. So, for example, when Jeff says, why do we have all these people incarcerated when they shouldn't be in there and these laws suck? Okay, so one of the social impact on that would be getting those people out of jail. And so that's a kind of a social thing, and you have an impact, and there are economic benefits to it. And so it's the other things, like a clean environment, so that we don't have dirty water in, say, Flint, Michigan. So they come in and they have the capital, but they're not vultures in the sense of like the bird coming in to pick off a carcass. They're coming in to invest in companies that are committed to some sort of sustainable activity or has a product that will improve the world. And that's what makes this conference so unique.
Humanitarian, I got you.
Yeah.
That's
so
cool.
That kind of thing. But Kim is absolutely right. It happens every so often, but rarely has it received kind of widespread introduction to the larger world. So that if you, any of our audience people are watching, if they have an idea, they should certainly watch the conference.
Well, I'm going to share it just a minute. I'm going to share. I can't find the intro for it that we built. They liked our intro so much that I think they kind of borrowed it from us. Yeah. But this is what it is. The Planet Humanity and Finance Summit. It's the 5th year that they're doing this. Some very powerful people. They've really never shared this with the world. They just kind of keep it quiet and just bring in certain people. So this is the first time that they have ever allowed anyone to air it on a global basis. So we're very, very honored that they have selected us. Again, you could probably find it there tomorrow, but we're actually airing the actual event. But I think there's a place on here that you can register. But because we were airing it, I didn't register. I just, felt like that. But again, you can check us out tomorrow morning or check it out later. But Bill is right. They're all about the humanitarian side of investing. They want a lot of alternative power solutions. That's one of their big hot items. And,
they talk about digital investment.
Yeah, they're into all kinds, but it truly has to meet the humanitarian goals, right? The sustainable humanitarian goals. And, Bill?
Oh, no. I just want to say, yes, Jeff, that's all great. And, I guess for our viewers, they should tune in and watch because we're IBM Television, Smarter Television for a smarter global community. That's my final kind of quick hit ad because I've got to go, but I'm leaving in capable hands with Kim and Zach and Mark and Jeff.
Yep, and we're getting ready to wrap everything up in a few minutes anyway. I've got a couple of shows that I was going to mention. One of them was going to be American politics, so I'm getting ready to bring that up. So what do we have coming up on American politics?
You guys do you. I'm just going to bow out, but I appreciate it. And I'm going to go watch this game.
You better win.
I'm going to try. I'm going to go watch it. Maybe they missed me.
Buffalo just scored.
Yay!
Yay!
So we got some good news for folks on the sports side, and we're actually talking about some sports shows as well. I know that I've got to get in touch with Bill because we've been talking about some sports shows. I know one of my guests on one of my shows on Monday was a sports person on this past Monday, and definitely I've got to get with Errol and other folks. So we'll be doing some sports here on the network as well very shortly. So we know that we've got that coming up in the near future. So we're looking at sports. We're looking at a number of other shows that will exist. But as I had told Kim, I knew that as we got ready to wrap up, that we've always got spots and we've got some great shows that exist here on a regular basis. One of those being American politics. So I'm going to let us check out what American politics is all about and probably
Mark,
some of the
tilt
other
your
shows
camera
as well.
down. Tilt your camera down. We're getting your chin cut off. There you go.
All right, cool.
I'm the producer. I'm the filmmaker of this party.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That was good advice. I appreciate that. Right now, let's check out American politics.
I love the fact everybody's got their purple on.
And here is American politics.
Mine is the theme.
And as Kim just said earlier, we also got a lot of shows about investment and things of that nature. And of course, we've got my good friend and Kim's good friend, Sasha, that talks about investment. So let's check out what investment is all about as well. And then, of course, we're going to bring up Lynn because we can't meet up without our sponsor. So let's check out what's going on with Sasha and that investment show. Before I get to Lynn and our main sponsor, the Dollar Store, I did want to find out from Jeff, what do we have going on for Weed Wednesday? I know I'm already talking to some musicians, some entrepreneurs, and a number of other folks for the shows that I do here, including the two that are on Mondays, that being, of course, the radio show with Mark Lee and Mullins Music and Memories. And, of course, I've already planning, and Kim will be glad to know this, another full online dinner party because we got our mystery guests coming on, and then we've got another education forum because I know we got a lot of traction from what I understand with that education forum, which I did with Nancy earlier, and she's already putting together a team of educators from around the country to see about doing another forum, and I think we're going to try to do it on the day or the weekend after Thanksgiving. She actually came up with a good idea for the dinner party, which is that I maybe want to do a show around giving to our nonprofits around the world and around the country. So I think I'm going to do that on Thanksgiving weekend or that Wednesday before Thanksgiving. But that being said, Jeff, what you got going on for Weed Wednesday? I know that's coming up. And of course, folks may be interested in what you've got going on for Weed Wednesday.
Well, the declaration was written on hemp paper.
Yes, that's right.
This is my hemp declaration that I have. I've had this for a long time. And
it was written on hemp paper too, and a lot of people don't know that. And we could be making paper out of growing hemp rather than tearing down trees. So there's just so much to learn that we're not doing everything we possibly can. So
this week we're gonna focus on hemp and the absurdity of people being in jail for what our forefathers. There was a law once that said you must grow. The farmers needed to grow a certain amount of hemp, and all of the military outfits were made out of hemp. All the sails on the boats were made out of hemp because hemp is antimicrobial and it doesn't mildew. So that's why they made sails out of it. Now they don't use it anymore because it's too heavy, and they have microfibers now that are much better. But just think about the natural products of the world, like hemp, that you don't have to cut a tree down to make toilet paper or paper for your computer and newspapers. So, we're evolving to most of our stuff online, but a lot of people still like to read their newspaper in the morning, and turn that page and so on and so forth.
I like that.
Yeah.
But I had to give up reading the newspaper. My doctor said it was killing me.
Yeah, it was a lot of stress, and I know a lot of people are having that stress of reading the newspaper and all that.
I had to get rid of it.
Yep. Coming up in a few minutes, and probably in about 8 minutes, we're going to have Alexandria May. And, of course, she does an amazing show. Of course, many folks know that I'm a big fan of hers and that whole singer-songwriter community because she has folks from both Africa as well as Nashville and throughout the world. So we are always glad to see Alexandria May's Music Cafe. It is a great show and, of course, one of our favorite shows, and I'm going to bring that up as well, which is Talking Upstream. And, of course, we had the other Zach, the West Coast Zach, on. So I'm going to bring that up right now so that folks can check out what the show is all about. Hey, Jeff, it's me and you here, and we're getting ready to wrap up these last 5 minutes, and I do have to bring up Lynn Shepard and the Dollar Store. They are our primary sponsor and all of that. But in the next 3 minutes or so, what kind of thoughts would you leave with our audience here to give them some real positive energy? I know that there is apparently snow in Colorado. I guess it might be raining outside here in North Carolina. And, of course, there's other weather going on around the world. But whether it's here in North America or whether it's folks that are watching in Malaysia, South Africa, Nigeria, a number of the other places that our folks come from, would love to hear what kinds of words of encouragement you would give folks during this wrapping up time of 2020. And if you've got any message about our folks and how they need to get out to vote, we'd love to hear that as well, because I know that I'm definitely pushing folks to get out and vote. Yes, we're hearing from Bill that it could be a landslide, but I don't want folks to get complacent. I want folks to know that they still need to have their voice heard and get out there and vote. But I'd love to hear your thoughts and any positive words that you want to share.
Well, positive is great. I heard that there's an ongoing news network called GNN, G as in God, or as in good, and so there is, and this is a true thing. So everyone go type in GNN News Network instead of CNN, and it's the Good News Network, and it's all about the good news all the time, because there are things that are happening, there are evolutions in life. And if we go back to our childhood, we remember how free we were, we remember how carefree we were, and we remember we believed in magic. But as we became adults and the Tooth Fairy became, nothing, and Santa became nothing, and, we stopped watching The Wizard of Oz, I say, tell everybody, please, my favorite movie for children is Mary Poppins. And then they made Mary Poppins 2. So my words of encouragement and 2 movies of the year are those 2 movies for small children. There's not one bit of violence in those movies. There's not one bit of blame and shame. And then the children grew up in the second movie, and they had children, and the new Mary Poppins came, and the old Mary Poppins came, and it was brilliant, and they had fun with their nanny. And so I believe the Good News Network and Mary Poppins are my medicine tablets for the week.
Sounds like great medicine tablets. The one thing I would mention about the Good News Network, as I recall, we teamed up with them and, of course, the folks here at IBM TV, and I believe there was one other organization as well. And, of course, that's how we got the International Peace Day thing going on, and that was just an amazing event. And I agree with you that we need to have more good news and more positive thoughts out in the world. But, of course, we've also got to have our supporters as well. So in this next couple of minutes, I'm going to bring up Lynn Shepard and the Dollar Store, and then we're going to wrap everything up with maybe a word of a second or two after that. But right now, let's see what's going on with the Dollar Store.
Hi, my name is Lynn Shepard. Our family owns an online dollar store, family.dollarstore.com. We have over 4,300 items on our site, quality items, and a lot less expensive than you might find wherever you're shopping, including on Amazon. We deliver for free if you spend $25 or more. And we also have a gift token program. Now, gift tokens are just like gift cards that you would get to shop at CVS, Target, Macy's, or a lot of other stores. And when you sign up to become a customer, you immediately get $5 worth of gift tokens to be able to use before you even make your very first purchase. So we encourage you to sign up to become a customer. We are here because we are supporting a not-for-profit, Money Masters PBS. Money Masters PBS owns IBM TV. Now, the mission of Money Masters PBS is to narrow the gap between poverty and financial sustainability.
That's right, narrowing the gap, and that's something that we do here regularly, is try to find ways to bring in some very important issues and thoughts from around the world, and we do a great job of that here on IBM TV. Glad to be a part of the team, giving you all kinds of great programming and things along that line. But right now, I'm going to sign on off and let Alexandria do her thing, as well as my friends from Talking Upstream. I know that is always some great and amazing conversation. And of course, as usual, we wrap up things here with that ambassador who gives you some great advice on what you should be doing in terms of hand washing. And of course, I know Zach always mentions the hand sanitizers and a number of other things, but our ambassador does a good job of talking about that as well. So let's see what she's got to say, and then we're going to get this airplane on out of here.
कोरोना वायरस से कैसे बचेंगे? हैंड और ऐसे अपने खांसी जब आएगी तो ऐसे करेंगे अछू अछू और कोरोना वायरस को धन्यवाद हमारा म्यूजिक सुनने का.
And like I said, it's time for that airplane on out of here, and we'll catch you on Monday with some more great programming. But, I'll probably be chalking in and making some comments doing the other shows that we've got coming up, that being Alexandria May's Music Cafe at 3 o'clock, and, of course, at 4:30, those fine folks from Talking Upstream. One last thing that I forgot to say is that I forgot to mention Wynn Charles. And of course, she's got that great show as well. So if you're not familiar with it, check her out, check Brandon out, check some of the other shows that I did not mention, but go to ibmtv.tv and see all of these great and amazing programs that happen here on a regular basis. And of course, I had the privilege on Friday of being on my friend and brother Mike's show as he was talking about some of the incidents that are going on in Nigeria. So always we're getting a very global community going on. As a matter of fact, I also forgot to mention Tarif's School of Economics, which also takes place here and talks about a lot of very important issues from the Malaysian standpoint. So like I said, you get a global community right here on IBM TV. And on that note, I'm out of here.